Chapter 3168. The scouts outside Golden Claw Treasure Land saw the Heavenly Law altar crazily absorbing energy, and thought that Qin Yun wanted to run. Lu Yi immediately received the news and ordered 20,000 tyrant dragon warriors to gather and prepare to attack. Qin Yun did this on purpose to make people think that he is saving energy and is about to run. This was because many of the scouts in the sky could see that many of the patrolling God King warriors had suddenly entered the altar. How long will it take for them to obtain the 5th generation bloodline heavenly rune? Luoyaya asked. About 2 hours, Qin Yun said. Luoyaya looked at the huge God King heavenly seal. This God King heavenly seal was something that Princess Luo Shu wanted, or it could be said that all the rulers of various empires and kingdoms wanted it. Later, Princess Luo Shu gave up because she knew that the God King heavenly seal could not belong to anyone else. Only those arrogant people thought that Qin Yun was not worthy of the God King heavenly seal, and they were confident that they could subdue the God King heavenly seal and obtain its recognition. Luoyaya is very close to the God King heavenly seal, and she can feel a kind of terrifying power. It even makes her feel suffocated. Especially now, the God King heavenly seal is circulating a huge amount of energy. The aura it is releasing is very terrifying. Although the people in the lower layer know that they are obtaining the 5th generation bloodline heavenly rune, they are also enveloped by a super pressure, as if their lives are in the hands of someone else. Only Qin Yun did not feel any aura. This is the first time Chu Limin saw the God King heavenly seal, moreover it is in its strongest state. This kind of power that can control heaven and earth made her, a great general who has killed countless people, tremble. What is the price to help tens of thousands of people obtain the 5th generation bloodline heavenly rune? Luoyaya asked. It requires a large amount of divine universe golden rocks. The God King heavenly seal is currently absorbing the energy from the treasure land. I don't know exactly how many divine universe golden rocks it consumes. Qin Yun said. We still need the cooperation of the heavenly law altar, right? Luoyaya asked again. Yes. Qin Yun nodded. He knows that Luoyaya wants to help her family's princess army obtain the 5th generation bloodline heavenly rune. I said that I will give you a great formation. When the time comes, you will know how many divine universe golden rocks you need. Qin Yun said. Luoyaya nodded. She was looking forward to the grand array, but she needed to wait for Qin Yun to stabilize. 2 hours later, everyone in the lower level had obtained the 5th generation bloodline heavenly runes. Their bodies were emitting intense light. Chu Limin already had a 5th generation bloodline heavenly mark, but it was created by a Taisher faction. It wasn't as good as Qin Yun's. Just like Princess Luo Shu, she could clearly sense how weak the bloodline heavenly patterns of Grand Primes were. Qin Yun arranged a room for her so that she can properly familiarize herself with the bloodline heavenly rune. Among these 50,000 Phoenix warriors, more than 20,000 are women. Qin Yun also arranged a secret hall for them to familiarize themselves with. After obtaining the 5th generation bloodline heavenly pattern, one would need to adapt and absorb energy. The heavenly law altar had plenty of energy from the divine universe goldstones. All the warriors here entered the hall that Qin Yun had arranged for them. Next, Qin Yun arranged for people to collect the armors and weapons of the 50,000 Phoenix warriors and place them on the previous floor. Qin Yun continued to extract the energy from the Golden Claw Treasure Land and bestowed the power of the bloodline heavenly pattern on the armors and weapons. He also changed their appearances. After the Divine King heavenly seal bestowed the bloodline heavenly pattern on the armors and weapons, they would have a special aura. This was also the characteristic of Divine King warriors. Qin Yun borrowed the Phoenix Kingdom's warriors this time. Moreover, the Phoenix Kingdom gave him 1 trillion divine universe goldstones, so it was not a big deal to help them modify it. Next time, he wouldn't be embarrassed to borrow them. Chu Limin felt that it was a great profit. She couldn't wait to go back and tell Phoenix Queen about this harvest. After this experience, the strength of the 50,000 Phoenix warriors increased by leaps and bounds. Qin Yun spent most of the day extracting the energy from the Golden Claw treasure land. The rumor that Qin Yun was going to give up on the Golden Claw treasure land spread like wildfire. Luoya sent her Shadow Pavilion's spies to spread this news, so that people would think that Qin Yun was really going to run away. At night, the 50,000 Phoenix warriors successfully transformed. After they obtained the 5th-generation bloodline heavenly pattern from Qin Yun, they became very excited. Only when they put on the equipment did they realize how awesome the Divine King of Divine Desolate was. As long as this Divine King was given enough time, any kingdom or empire would be razed to the ground by him. Chu Limin is very excited. She already sent spies back to Phoenix Kingdom to inform Phoenix Queen about this news. She obtained not a small increase in strength and wished that she could immediately go out to battle. She wanted to test out her bloodline heavenly pattern and try out Qin Yun's modified equipment. She and Phoenix Queen were very puzzled before. Why did the Divine Moon Clan let Qin Yun become their emperor? Especially a woman like Yu Shangyun, she has special feelings for Qin Yun. That's because Qin Yun is truly powerful. He is the true Divine King of Divine Desolate. Qin Yun quietly transferred the 50,000 Phoenix warriors into the Divine Inscription Mountain. The Divine Inscription Mountain has already turned into a golden stone ship. It emitted golden light in the night. It is very dazzling. The heavenly Tao altar has already dimmed down, as if it has lost its vitality. Qin Yun made Tian Daozi do this on purpose. The golden stone ship began to soar into the sky and passed through the barrier of the Golden Claw treasure land. At night, all the spies are boiling with excitement. Qin Yun really ran away. He rode a 100-meter-long golden stone ship to escape. Lu Yi led 20,000 tyrant dragon warriors in black armor and floated in the sky with a sneer. Wait until they are far away from the Golden Claw treasure land before attacking. Otherwise, he will be scared into hiding in the treasure land. Lu Yi is also somewhat excited. This is a great opportunity to capture Qin Yun. What he doesn't know is that inside the golden stone ship of the Divine Inscription Mountain, there are 50,000 transformed super-strong Phoenix warriors. After these Phoenix warriors became stronger, their blood for battle boiled. They wished that they could immediately fight to their heart's content. They already know that this time they will be fighting with tyrant dragon warriors. They have never fought with tyrant dragon warriors before, but they have heard of how powerful they are. This made them look forward to it even more. Your Excellency Divine King, I will personally capture Lu Yi and hand him over to you. Chu Limin put on her helmet and hid her face. She must go out to battle. Only by capturing Lu Yi and handing him over to Qin Yun would they be worthy of the power Qin Yun bestowed upon them. Be careful. Qin Yun warned again and again. Luo Yaya is also inside the Divine Inscription Mountain. She will not go out to battle. Xie Wufeng did not come. He and Pippi Pig are guarding the Golden Claw treasure land with Qin Zhong and the other brothers. Monkey King and Ba Tain also came over. They will also go out to battle later. As for Luo Yaya and Dark Concubine, they are protecting Qin Yun inside the Divine Inscription Mountain. Chapter 3169. Qin Yun controlled the stone ship to fly faster and faster, making people think that he is running away. It is very difficult for the other spies to catch up to the stone ship. The speed of the stone ship is too fast, it amazed them. The combat power of the spies is not particularly strong, but their speed is very fast. Otherwise, they would not have been able to become spies. The battleships of the middle and upper class people are also very fast in the universe. Because they are in the void of the universe, after a long period of acceleration, they can reach a very fast speed. Just like in the Divine Desolate Land, the Earth has a very strong gravitational force. It is not easy to fly at high speed. It is very difficult for huge battleships or huge objects to fly at high speed in a short period of time within the range of the divine desolate land's gravitational force. However, humans are different. Using the powerful divine cosmos power within their bodies, they can be faster than huge battleships. However, it is very difficult for the spies to catch up to the huge stone ship. Qin Yun originally thought that he would deliberately slow down so that everyone could catch up. However, he still overestimated their speed. He is now somewhat embarrassed because if he suddenly slowed down, people would definitely suspect that he was trying to lure people over. He immediately thought of a way to make the stone ship formed by the divine inscription mountain suddenly stop. After the stone ship stopped, it pretended to crazily absorb the surrounding energy, absorbing the intense light released by the myriad realms' divine Sunday. The scouts trailing behind could now rest. They believed that Qin Yun's stone ship was also resting. It was accumulating energy and preparing for the next flight. Lu Yi led the 20,000 tyrant dragon warriors and flew in the sky with great difficulty. Fortunately, the armor worn by the tyrant dragon warriors can offset a portion of the divine desolate land's gravitational force, allowing them to barely keep up. The stone ship is still very close to the Golden Claw treasure land, so Lu Yi did not immediately take action. He also believed that Qin Yun's stone ship is accumulating energy for the next sprint. After all, with such a fast speed, the energy consumption must be enormous. Sure enough, as everyone expected, Qin Yun's stone ship accumulated energy for a while and then sprinted at high speed. Fortunately, when the stone ship is flying, it will leave behind a relatively strong energy aura. Those slower spies can track Qin Yun's stone ship based on the aura. Lu Yi is really cunning. He still hasn't made his move. Qin Yun said with a frown, "Did he discover something? This bastard is too cautious. He's afraid that you'll be able to escape back to the Golden Claw treasured land. That's why he's waiting for you to run further away. He's sure that you won't be able to return in a short period of time before he starts to attack," Chu Limin said. She seemed to know Lu Yi very well. The Heavenly Eye avatar released by Qin Yun can only see Lu Yi leading the tyrant dragon warriors flying high in the sky. Some of the spies had discovered it, but they did not make it public. They were all guessing the origins of those 20,000 powerful warriors. Some of the scouts guessed that it was Crown Prince Everlasting's dominant dragon army. They were alarmed and secretly praised Crown Prince Everlasting for his brilliance in finding the perfect opportunity to attack Qin Yun. If the exotic cat fleet launched a large-scale attack, they would definitely be able to breach the Golden Claw treasure land. This was the consensus of all the forces. Qin Yun was indeed able to create miracles before, but in the face of absolute power, all methods were futile. Therefore, everyone unanimously believed that he would give up the Golden Claw treasure land and escape. The Crown Prince of Daluo's ruling dragon army's attack was a good opportunity. In the past, Qin Yun always hid in the Golden Claw treasure land and no one knew where he was. But now, Qin Yun wants to give up the Golden Claw treasure land and escape. He must take his family's wealth and escape. If there is a big commotion, they can confirm whether it was him or not. Exotic Cat King's avatar and a general's avatar are currently chasing the stone ship. Crown Prince of Daluo has about 20,000 tyrant dragon warriors. Exotic Cat King looked at the sky in front of him and snorted. This Crown Prince of Daluo really knows how to pick the right time to attack. If Crown Prince of Daluo captures Qin Yun, then everyone will definitely praise the Crown Prince and belittle Exotic Cat King and Sky Scorpio King. Exotic Cat King has already escaped the clutches of Daluo Empire. He urgently needs to establish his might. Even if he can't establish his might, he can't let the Crown Prince slap his face. Your Majesty, how many of our Exotic Cat Kingdom's top warriors would be needed to fight against 20,000 tyrant dragon warriors? The general asked. Although he is a general, he doesn't know much about the Exotic Cat Kingdom's strongest warriors. because those powerful warriors are a secret army and they are all in the hands of Exotic Cat King. At least 80,000. Exotic Cat King shook his head and said, 80,000 should not be enough, 100,000. The general took a deep breath. The Empire's warriors are so terrifying. 20,000 tyrant dragon warriors have such terrifying battle strength. The Crown Prince's tyrant dragon warriors are so powerful, our kingdoms are not their match. The general said helplessly. There are not many tyrant dragon warriors. They are powerful because they have the support of Taisher factions. Phoenix Kingdom's Phoenix warriors are also not weak. About 30,000 to 40,000 Phoenix warriors can fight against 20,000 tyrant dragon warriors. Exotic Cat King said. Alright, what about Princess Luoshu? She lost the power struggle and still managed to escape unscathed. She is quite amazing. The general suddenly thought of the princess. She is a princess after all. Moreover, Daluo Heavenly Emperor secretly encourages his children to fight for power, so that they can compete with each other and become stronger. Princess Luoshu has completely lost power. She has no chance of returning to the core of Daluo Empire. It is equivalent to being abandoned by the Daluo imperial family. The Exotic Cat King said, even the Grand Prime organization behind her has given up on her. Princess Luoshu's current situation is already known by all the empires and kingdoms, and she has become a joke. Therefore, Princess Luoshu is also suppressing her anger. She wants to hold her head high. The other kingdoms and empires will not help her, because if they help her, they will be seen as helping her overthrow Daluo Crown Prince's position. Daluo Crown Prince's power is like the midday sun. Now, he represents the Daluo Heavenly Emperor in handling many important matters in the imperial court. He holds great decision-making power, so no one dares to offend him. In the divine wilderness, only godly King Qin Yun would dare to openly challenge Daluo Crown Prince. At this moment, Qin Yun is planning to take down the Crown Prince's 20,000 tyrant dragon warriors. If he succeeds, it is equivalent to him officially challenging Daluo Crown Prince. Let's see if Daluo Crown Prince dares to accept it. If he does not dare, he will definitely keep quiet and even block all news, not letting others know that his 20,000 tyrant dragon warriors have been destroyed. If Daluo Crown Prince wants revenge, he will definitely cause a huge commotion. Qin Yun is not afraid of Daluo Crown Prince's revenge. He can run if he cannot win, but he cannot show weakness to Daluo Crown Prince. He is a godly king. He cannot lower his head to an external faction. The stone ship stopped after a certain distance and pretended to rest. Lu Yi led the 20,000 godly king warriors and rushed over. Daluo Crown Prince, do you think it is that easy to take down a godly king? Qin Yun sneered inwardly. Chapter 3170. Chu Limin was listening to Qin Yun's signal. They're here. Qin Yun said, you guys make some preparations, I will send you out. Pay attention, you must be careful, you are all powerful warriors, very important to the Phoenix Kingdom. Try your best to protect yourselves. If you can't beat them, run to the stone ship, I will immediately teleport you in. These words made the Phoenix warriors feel very moved. I'm serious, I'm not trying to provoke you. Therefore, you must remember my words. Once you are injured, immediately fly to the stone ship, I will bring you in. Qin Yun said. This group of warriors was indeed very precious, and they were from the Phoenix Kingdom. Qin Yun truly did not wish for them to die. Yes, Divine King, Chu Limin said. Qin Yun's strength was not as good as hers, but it was only temporary. Now, she had sincerely acknowledged Qin Yun as the Divine King. Old Shao, Old Shan, you can fire the cannons outside. Use small cannonballs and blow them up a few times. Qin Yun said. He did not immediately let the Phoenix warriors go out. The Tyrant Dragon warriors outside must have consumed a lot of energy to fly over. If they were to bombard them again, they would consume a lot of energy to protect themselves. At this time, the Phoenix warriors could easily harvest. 20,000 tyrant dragon warriors surrounded them from all directions. When they rushed over, they released the powerful divine weapons in their hands, wanting to use them to break through the stone ship. However, when their divine weapons flew over, many tentacles suddenly appeared on the stone ship. These tentacles all had a suction force. They crazily danced and sucked the divine weapons into the tentacles. The tentacles were like the tentacles of an octopus. They had large black suckers, and those divine weapons were sucked in by the suckers. Then, they were stored in a warehouse within the divine mountain. The scouts watching the battle from afar were all dumbfounded. The tyrant dragon warriors were also dumbfounded. This stone ship? How did so many huge tentacles suddenly appear? Not only were they very agile, they also had such a powerful suction force. In an instant, they captured a large number of divine weapons. At this moment, the stone ship also began to transform. Under the little black donkey's control, it turned into a golden Xuanwu turtle and activated the Xuanwu Great Formation. The little black donkey is now a lot fatter. Now he has a new nickname, Little Black Pig. Fire. The mountain god and Xiao Hua controlled the cannons. The cannon's shells hit the tyrant dragon warriors. Berserk energy exploded, accompanied by extremely powerful bloodline heavenly pattern flames. The tyrant dragon warrior who did not have a weapon had no choice but to release his divine universe power into his armor to block the terrifying energy explosion. Chu Limin and the other Phoenix warriors could clearly see the outside world from within the divine inscription mountain. They suddenly felt that even if Qin Yun didn't have them, he would still be able to take down those tyrant dragon warriors. Qin Yun does not have a powerful warrior, but he is an inscription master. He can make all kinds of weapons become very powerful. This kind of cannon can be made by anyone, but without Qin Yun's runes, it would not have such formidable power. Boom! 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 The tyrant dragon warriors outside were bombarded for a long time. Although there were no casualties, they had consumed a lot of divine cosmos power. "You can leave now," said Qin Yun. Lu Yi looked from the sky and shouted, "Quickly disperse and attack from multiple directions. Break through this broken stone ship as soon as possible and capture Qin Yun alive. Don't be afraid of Qin Yun. He only has a few thousand divine king warriors at most. They are all weak chickens. They definitely can't do anything to you." The tyrant dragon warriors were bombarded just now. There is a huge shadow in their hearts. They finally understood why Scorpio Kingdom had so many Scorpio warriors and battleships destroyed by Qin Yun. If they did not have the protection of powerful armors, they might have already been blown to smithereens. Chu Limin wants to personally fight Lu Yi. Qin Yun does not doubt her strength at all, so he put her in a cannon and shot her towards Lu Yi. And at this moment, a large number of Phoenix warriors flew out of the stone ship. Although the stone ship is very big, it is still unable to accommodate tens of thousands of warriors. Now that so many of them suddenly appeared, it means that there is space inside the stone ship. Strange Cat King watched from afar. He excitedly slapped his thigh and said with smile, "Good, good, good. Lu Yi, this little idiot has been tricked, ha ha ha. This arrogant guy has finally tasted what it feels like to be tricked by Qin Yun. He might be finished. Your Majesty, Lu Yi is the second in command of the Shadow Dragon Pavilion. If he is killed by Qin Yun, how will the Crown Prince of Great Luo react? He will definitely retaliate against Qin Yun." The general also shivered. It is clear that the stone ship in front has made ample preparations. They deliberately lured Lu Yi out and killed him. All the scouts felt that they were too naive. They all thought that Qin Yun was running away. They never expected that he would kill the 20,000 tyrant dragon warriors of Great Luo Crown Prince. Chu Limin was hit by the cannon near Lu Yi. Not only her, Su Xiaoba, Monkey King and Ba Taiyin are also there. Qin Yun cannot let Lu Yi escape. Therefore, he is worried and sent Su Xiaoba and the other big shots over. Lu Ye's scalp went numb. He just realized that he has been tricked by Qin Yun. Lu Yi was different from the other Tyrannosaurus warriors. He immediately realized that the armored and helmeted warrior was Chu Limin. The tens of thousands of powerful warriors that suddenly appeared are also Phoenix warriors. His 20,000 tyrant dragon warriors chased all the way here. Previously, they were bombarded by cannons and consumed a lot of energy. Now, they have to face tens of thousands of powerful Phoenix warriors. Phoenix warriors all have a kind of equipment that can handcuff people and seal the divine cosmos power within their bodies. Qin Yun said that if they can capture the tyrant dragon warriors alive, then capture them alive. If they can't be captured alive, then kill them. Qin Yun has mastered many kinds of soul-controlling techniques, for example, the power of the illusory pupil race. If he can control the tyrant dragon warriors for his own use, it will be more valuable than killing them. Lu Yi was besieged by Su Xiaoba and Chu Limin. Very quickly, he was defeated and both of his arms were broken. 3,000 tyrant dragon warriors were killed and the other 17,000 were captured alive. However, they are all seriously injured. There is a special place inside the divine inscription mountain. It is very secure and those tyrant dragon warriors are all imprisoned inside. And Lu Yi was captured alive and forced to kneel in front of Qin Yun. The stone ship began flying at high speed back to the Golden Claw treasure land. It did not stop along the way. The group of scouts suddenly realized that Qin Yun was flying and stopping because he was waiting for Lu Yi. Otherwise, he could have continued flying without stopping. Your Majesty, this Qin Yun is truly too powerful. Are our warships enough? The general previously thought that there were too many warships, but now it seems that it might not be enough. Strange Cat King did not speak. He is thinking about how Qin Yun will defend against the attack of Strange Cat's fleet. Inside the divine inscription mountain, Lu Yi was forced to kneel on the ground and beaten up by Qin Yun. In fact, the one who attacked the most was Chu Limin. It can be seen that Chu Limin hates Lu Yi very much. Chapter 3171. It was very difficult to kill someone with Lu Ye's strength, but he would definitely be tortured. The second in command of the Shadow Dragon Pavilion was like a dead dog, beaten to the ground by a woman. After Qin Yun was done beating Lu Yi, he watched quietly from the side. Chu Limin beat him for a while before stopping. Qin Yun had secretly asked Luoye about the conflict between Chu Limin and Lu Yi, but Luoye did not know. When Lu Yi was being beaten by Chu Limin, he glared at Qin Yun with hatred. As the second in command of the Shadow Dragon Pavilion, he was definitely not an idiot. He was just too arrogant. He clearly knew that Qin Yun was capable, but because he had never fought with Qin Yun, he did not have a clear understanding of him. For example, Exotic Cat King did not think much of Qin Yun before. After being tricked by Qin Yun, he treated Qin Yun as the most important enemy in his life. In Exotic Cat King's eyes, Qin Yun was even more difficult to deal with than De Luo's crown prince. Lu Yi already knew that the Phoenix Kingdom and Qin Yun were secretly working together. Fortunately, he had sent the news back to the Shadow Dragon Pavilion. Of course, even if he fell into Qin Yun's hands, he could still send the news back, because he had a clone that could use the magic mirror to send messages. At this moment, everyone was shocked. The second in command of De Luo's Shadow Dragon Pavilion had been captured by Qin Yun and 20,000 tyrant dragon warriors had been killed. Lu Yi had previously predicted that the Phoenix Kingdom might send troops to help Qin Yun, but he was still not afraid because he knew the strength of the Phoenix warriors. No matter how many of them there were, they could not do anything to the tyrant dragon warriors. The tyrant dragon warriors could escape, and they had powerful equipment. Even if they were surrounded by a large number of powerful warriors, it would not be a problem for them to escape. However, he did not expect that after the Phoenix warriors transformed, they would become extremely powerful. They could be said to be slightly stronger than the Tyrant Dragon Warriors. In terms of equipment, they were even better than the Tyrant Dragon Warriors. In addition, the Tyrant Dragon Warriors had already been exhausted, so they were quickly taken down. Losing 20,000 Tyrant Dragon Warriors was a heavy loss for Deluo's Crown Prince. There were not many Tyrant Dragon Warriors that could attract Deluo's attention. Every one of them required a large investment. Lu Yi lay on the ground, his body twitching. He had been screaming in pain before, but now he was laughing so hard that his body was twitching. Ha ha ha, you are all dead. I am one of the Crown Prince's most capable subordinate. The Crown Prince will definitely make you pay 100-fold for what you have done to me. Lu Yi laughed sinisterly. Qin Yun went over and kicked Lu Yi twice. He asked, "You should know what Crown Prince Deluo is secretly exploring deep underground, right?" "Of course I know. As long as the Crown Prince can find those items, he'll become the strongest person in the Empire. When that happens, even the Celestial Emperor will have to abdicate his throne." Lu Yi laughed and said, "Are you afraid now?" Luo Yaya also knew what the Daluo Crown Prince was searching for. He was searching deep beneath the deity's desolate. She could not reveal this matter, as it was a secret of the Daluo Empire. She had signed a soul contract, and she could not divulge this matter. If Qin Yun asked Lu Yi, Luo Yaya would not stop him. She hoped that Qin Yun would know about it and stop Deluo's Crown Prince. Phoenix Kingdom seemed to be very concerned about Deluo's secret operation. For a long time, Deluo's Crown Prince had been secretly doing something big. The spies of various factions could not find anything. Chu Limin was surprised. She did not expect Qin Yun to know what Deluo's Crown Prince was searching for. "Don't expect me to tell you anything. I have already signed a soul contract. I will die if I say anything." "Ah." Lu Yi laughed. "Aren't you afraid of pain?" Chu Limin said coldly. "I am loyal to the Crown Prince. I will not say anything even if I die." Lu Yi said coldly. Qin Yun had used the Divine King Heavenly Seal to suppress Lu Ye's soul to prevent him from destroying his own soul. Also, Lu Yi had a doppelganger. Although the doppelganger's soul was very weak, it had the same memory as the main body. If the main body's soul was destroyed, the doppelganger would be equivalent to another life. Qin Yun was very good at dealing with such stubborn people. He first completely controlled Lu Ye's soul, and then placed it into the soul creation Heavenly Cauldron to refine the soul contract. What surprised Qin Yun was that the contract was very powerful. It was very different from the ones he had encountered in the past. It took him more than half a day to completely refine the contract. Then, he used the illusory pupil race's secret technique to hypnotize Lu Yi, making him think that Qin Yun was Deluo's Crown Prince. The hypnotized Lu Yi did not say anything he was asked. It was obvious that he had gone through a lot of training in this area in order to keep it a secret. Qin Yun used all sorts of methods and finally found out many important things. Deluo's Crown Prince had 200,000 Tyrant Dragon Warriors. He had sent 20,000, which was a tenth of his fighting strength. It meant that he valued Qin Yun very much. Chu Limin and Luo Yaya did not know the exact number of Tyrant Dragon Warriors. They were shocked when they learned that there were 200,000, because they estimated that there were at most 100,000. After all, Deluo's Crown Prince could not have too many troops of his own. The Phoenix Kingdom had hundreds of thousands of Phoenix warriors, but it was a kingdom after all. Furthermore, their overall quality was far inferior to the Tyrant Dragon Warriors. Therefore, Deluo's Tyrant Dragon army was still very terrifying. If used properly, they might be able to wipe out an entire kingdom. Chu Limin was the one who asked about the number of Tyrant Dragon Warriors. What everyone was most concerned about was Deluo's secret expedition. Lu Yi knew what it was, but he did not know the exact details. He did not even know the exact location. He only knew where it was. Deluo's Crown Prince was exploring a primordial ancient city. Originally, primordial ancient city was spread across the universe. However, many lands in the universe were later absorbed into the divine wilderness. Therefore, there were many primordial ancient city hidden under the divine wilderness. Lu Yi did not know what those primordial ancient city looked like or what it contained. He suddenly knew that he was definitely by Deluo's crown prince's side, searching for the primordial ancient ruins. Lu Yi only knew that the humans of the primordial factions were descendants of the ancient primordial humans, and the primordial ancient ruins contained many primordial era civilizations. As long as one grasped these civilizations, they could transcend the seal of the universe's Dharma spirits and even create their own universe. It was said that the 9 Yang Dharma spirits had obtained something from the primordial ancient civilization, allowing them to create the powerful 9 suns and the divine wilderness. The primordial ancient civilization had been sealed. The universe's Dharma spirits and the 9 Yang Dharma spirits wanted to destroy the primordial ancient city, but it was difficult to do so. When Qin Yun heard of this matter, he was greatly shocked. If that was the case, it would not be good news for Deluo's crown prince to grasp the powerful dermic formulation of the ancient primordial. Chapter 3172. Chu Limin placed great importance on the important information of the primordial ruins. She had to tell this discovery to the Phoenix Queen as soon as possible. There should be primordial era relics in the 9 Suns sacred ground as well. However, the competition within the sacred ground is too intense. It's not something the Crown Prince of Deluo can compete with, said Qin Yun. That's right. The Crown Prince of Deluo is just a Crown Prince. He can't compete with the empires and some of the stronger kingdoms. Chu Limin said. For example, our Phoenix Kingdom is not something he can contend against. The Crown Prince was indeed powerful. If he fought with all his might, he could indeed inflict heavy losses on the Phoenix Kingdom. However, the Crown Prince himself would also be uprooted. After all, he was only the Crown Prince of Deluo, not the Deluo Celestial Emperor. Lu Yi said that the Crown Prince can use that primordial era ancient site to increase his strength and even surpass the divine space realm. At the side, Tyrant Ba frowned and said, if that's really the case, then the other empires and kingdoms should also be able to find the primordial historical site. Then, will everyone be able to surpass the divine space realm? Qin Yun shook his head and said, this matter is not that simple. Lu Yi doesn't know much about this. What he knows is only hearsay. There must be some misinformation. What we can be sure of is that the primordial ruins are extremely important. They can make people stronger or strengthen their own forces. Otherwise, the Taisha factions and the other empires wouldn't pay so much attention to it. Chu Limin said. This secret should only be known by the empire and a few kingdoms, right? Lady Ba looked at Chu Limin and asked, your Phoenix Kingdom also has a Grand Prime organization behind it. Why don't you know? This was also what Chu Limin was very confused about. Logically speaking, the Grand Prime organization behind the Phoenix Kingdom definitely knew. Chu Limin was the core of the Phoenix Kingdom, so she should also know, but the Phoenix Queen had never mentioned it. She was still uncertain whether the Phoenix Queen knew about the Grand Prime ruins or not. If the Phoenix Queen did not know, then the Grand Prime organization must have hidden it from her. This was a sign of distrust. If the Grand Prime organizations behind you don't trust you, then we can end this cooperation, Qin Yun said, otherwise you will be easily betrayed by them. I know. Chu Limin nodded. Your Excellency, do you have any other guesses about the primordial era's ruins? Qin Yun is a divine king. He has a deep relationship with the 9 Yang Dharma spirit. 9 Yang Dharma spirit must be very clear about the primordial ancient ruins. He even learned the divine sun cultivation method from it. The 9 Yang Dharma spirit has never mentioned this to me. Qin Yun shook his head. A primordial era ruin is very important, but it's definitely not easy to obtain heritage from it. Qin Yun could guess what Chu Limin was thinking. Chu Limin wanted to join forces with him to fight for the primordial prime ruins discovered by the Crown Prince of Zenith Luo. Crown Prince de Luo had sent Lu Yi to attack the Golden Claw treasure ground. Furthermore, he had repeatedly provoked Qin Yun, saying that he wanted to take Qin Yun's wife as a female slave. Qin Yun could then take revenge on the Crown Prince of Grand Luo. If he wanted to make the Crown Prince of Origin Luo feel pain, he would have to attack the primordial era ruins that he had discovered and snatch it over. That might be enough to make the Crown Prince of Origin Luo vomit blood. General Chu, go back and discuss it with the Phoenix Queen. If you're sure that she doesn't know about this, then we'll take our time to think about it, said Qin Yun. Your Excellency Divine King, our Phoenix King said before that if the 50,000 Phoenix warriors successfully defeat the dominant dragon army, they will stay in the Golden Claw treasure land and listen to your Excellency Divine King's orders. Chu Limin said. These 50,000 Phoenix warriors have indeed been transformed by Qin Yun to become very powerful, but the Phoenix Kingdom intends to give them to Qin Yun. Right now, it is a great opportunity to sell a favor to Qin Yun. And these 50,000 Phoenix warriors will definitely follow Qin Yun willingly because they know how powerful Qin Yun is. If they follow Qin Yun, they will become even stronger in the future. In addition, these Phoenix warriors are still Phoenix warriors. They can return to the Phoenix Kingdom at any time in the future. They are only temporarily staying in the Golden Claw treasure land. Qin Yun is indeed lacking in manpower. The Nine Dragon Kingdom has already sent people over. His own Divine King army will soon reach 30,000. In addition to the 50,000 Phoenix warriors, this force is not small. Chu Limin is very clear that as long as they have a good relationship with Qin Yun, their Phoenix Kingdom's warriors will have the opportunity to be transformed in the future. Then thank you very much, Qin Yun said gratefully. Help me thank the Phoenix Queen. Lu Yi is still here. His mind has already been confused and he is completely deranged. Luo Yaya has been standing at the side without saying a word. She doesn't want to reveal her identity yet. She knows a lot, especially about the primordial ancient ruins. She really wants to tell Qin Yun, but she and Princess Luo Shu are restricted by the contract, so they can't reveal this matter to others. However, she has already seen that Qin Yun can help people refine the contract within their soul. She plans to wait for Chu Limin to leave before discussing this matter with Qin Yun. Your Excellency Divine King, I will first return to inform the Phoenix King about this important matter. When the strange cat fleet attacks, I will definitely come to help. Chu Limin knows that Qin Yun will definitely be able to block the strange cat fleet. She just doesn't know how he will do it. Phoenix Kingdom and Princess Luo Shu's craftsmen are helping Qin Yun forge small-scale divine arrows. This is very important to Qin Yun. Just as Chu Limin was about to leave, Lu Yi suddenly felt something wrong. His body suddenly swelled up. Careful! Luo Yaya is the first to react and immediately released a super strong barrier. Soon after, Chu Limin, Dark Concubine, Yingji, Batayin and Su Xiaoba released their strongest divine cosmos power and formed a barrier around Qin Yun's body. Boom! Lu Ye's body suddenly exploded. A secret room inside the Heavenly Law altar exploded, causing the entire Heavenly Law altar to violently tremble. After all, everyone present is very strong. Their reaction speed is very fast. They immediately gathered their power to protect Qin Yun. They suffered some injuries, but it is not a big deal. The Heavenly Law altar's secret room is very strong. It did not suffer any damage from this explosion. Lu Yi is gone. His entire body has exploded. Qin Yun is safe and sound. He was also startled just now. Now that he has calmed down, he immediately thanked everyone. Great Luo Crown Prince is really good. If Lu Yi failed his mission and fell into your Excellency Divine King's hands, his body would explode. Even Lu Yi would not know about this. Chu Limin said. This great Luo Crown Prince has a backup plan. It seems like he does not treat his subordinates well. Qin Yun sighed. He originally planned to keep Lu Yi and see how much the great Luo Crown Prince would pay to get him back. But he did not expect that the great Luo Crown Prince would directly give up on Lu Yi. Chu Limin suffered some minor injuries, but it is not a big deal, so she directly returned. After she left, Luo Yaya hastily sent a voice transmission to Qin Yun, wanting to talk to him in secret. Qin Yun immediately guessed that Luo Ya might want to talk to him in secret about the primordial ancient ruins. Chapter 3173. A complete copy update the latest chapter of the Nine Sons Divine King as soon as possible. Qin Yun brought Luo Yaya into another secret room. The others were in the secret room that had just exploded. They wanted to see if there were any remnants of Lu Ye's self-destruction or to analyze the energy fluctuations to see if there were any other strange things. Even Lu Yi did not know that he had blown himself up. The Crown Prince of Daluo must have used an extremely brilliant method. It was extremely likely that it came from a Grand Prime organization. Luo followed Qin Yun to a secret chamber and said, "Help me remove the soul contract." "Alright." Qin Yun knew that Luo Yaya definitely had something important to say. After he took out the soul creation heavenly cauldron, he asked, "It will remove all the soul contracts, does your princess agree?" "No problem," Luo Yaya said. Qin Yun explained the entire process to Luo Yaya in detail and asked her to relax her soul and cooperate. If the owner of the soul cooperated, it would be very easy to accomplish. If Lu Yi did not cooperate, he would have to force it. The process would be more difficult and it would take a lot of time. Not long after, Qin Yun removed Luo Yaya's soul contract power. Luo Yaya had previously witnessed Qin Yun's powerful soul refining technique. Back then, she had secretly sighed. Now that she had personally experienced it, she was even more impressed. Is it regarding the primordial prime ruins? Although Qin Yun had already guessed it, he still asked. Luo Yaya nodded. The Crown Prince found the Taisher ancient site, and it was the Taisher faction that told him about it. Our universe has a total of 3 Taisher factions. The Princess, the Crown Prince, and the Phoenix Queen all had different Taisher organizations behind them. Though they're different, they share the same interests. Moreover, all 3 factions are loyal to the Celestial Emperor. Qin Yun was astonished. The Celestial Darch of Celestial Luo was so powerful that he could obtain the allegiance of 3 Grand Prime factions. The allegiance of the Taisher factions is only temporary, because there are benefits to be gained. Moreover, the Celestial Emperor of Daluo is extremely powerful. The power of the entire Daluo Empire is enough to contend against the 3 Taisher factions, Luo Yaya added. What are the goals of the 3 Taisher factions working with Princess Luo Shu, the Crown Prince of Origin Luo and Phoenix Queen? Qin Yun asked. Does the Celestial Darch of Origin Luo know? Of course the Celestial Darch knows. The Grand Prime organizations only want to use the 3 of them to help them with other matters. Luo Ye snorted coldly. These damned bastards. They've abandoned Her Highness. After Princess Luo Shu lost her power, the Grand Prime organization behind her became very cold, gradually distancing themselves from her. How much do you know about the primordial ruins? Qin Yun now had a basic understanding of the 3 primordial factions. The Grand Prime ruins of the gods desolate were all found by the Grand Prime forces together. They left one of the smaller ones to the Crown Prince of Origin Luo, while the Celestial Emperor of Origin Luo personally led an army to explore the larger one. Luo Yaya became very angry when she mentioned this. She said furiously, Her Highness has helped many Grand Prime organizations in the past, yet she's been abandoned now. Previously, we agreed to let Her Highness obtain a primordial prime ruin. Now, it's only given to the Crown Prince of Daluo. Princess Luo Shu's cooperation with the Taisher organization had always been rather deep. After all, it was an exchange of benefits. Princess Luo Shu had sent many benefits to the Taisher organization, but the Taisher organization had not given her the benefits they had promised. This was equivalent to tearing up the contract. From this, it could be seen what kind of status Princess Luo Shu had in the eyes of the Taisher organization. The Taisher organization was not afraid of Princess Luo Shu's revenge at all. They even clearly told her that she was no longer fit to cooperate with them. This was what Luo Yaya was most angry about, because she and Princess Luo Shu were counting on the primordial ruins to make a comeback. This was one of their hope. Now, if they wanted to make a comeback, Qin Yun was their only hope. What about the Phoenix Queen? General Chu seems to have never heard of the primordial ruins. Qin Yun said. The Phoenix Queen must have been betrayed. General Chu is one of the Phoenix Queen's trusted aides. If we want to explore the primordial ruins, we will have to mobilize our strongest forces. This will definitely not be hidden from General Chu. Luo Yaya said, let's see how the Phoenix Queen will react next. If she knows that she has been betrayed, she will definitely join forces with you to snatch the Crown Prince of Daluo's primordial ruins. At that time, Qin Yun would have two powerful allies that could contend against the Crown Prince of Daluo. No, not two allies, there was still the Nine Dragon Kingdom. The Nine Dragon Kingdom had been besieged by the Crown Prince of Daluo and the Crown Prince of Heavenly Hong Empire. If he wanted to besiege the Crown Prince of Daluo, he would have to drag the Nine Dragon Kingdom along. This matter needs to be considered at length. Qin Yun frowned and said, I will definitely take the primordial ruins of the Crown Prince of Daluo, but I need to plan carefully. Yes. At that time, Her Highness will participate in the secret meeting. I hope the Phoenix Queen can also participate. She must personally participate in this matter. Luo Yaya said. I will try my best. Qin Yun had always been planning to teach the Crown Prince of Daluo a lesson. The Crown Prince of Daluo ambushed the Nine Dragon Kingdom to suppress Qin Yun's ally. Qin Yun was very angry at that time. Not long ago, he sent Lu Yi with the powerful tyrant dragon warriors. This was a new enemy. Also, the Crown Prince of Daluo sent troops to attack the dragon race and help the Cat Ear Man to fight against Qin Yun. Qin Yun has been holding a grudge against the Crown Prince of Daluo for a long time. Once the battle with the exotic cat kingdom is over, he will immediately take revenge on the Crown Prince of Daluo. As long as Qin Yun defeated the exotic cat kingdom, other kingdoms outside of the Nine Sun Sacred Land would not dare to jump around. Unless a few kingdoms joined forces, a single kingdom would not be able to stop Qin Yun. Qin Yun predicted that in the future, there would be many kingdoms joining forces to contend against him. Those empires would still not make a move. They are high and mighty, and would never show that they are concerned about the Divine King. Once the empires show it, it would mean that the Divine King is truly capable. This would make the various races of the Divine Desolate acknowledge the Divine King even more. They might even help Qin Yun rally the various races of the Divine Desolate. Therefore, as long as Qin Yun does not take the initiative to provoke the empires, they would turn a blind eye to Qin Yun. What the empires fear the most is that Qin Yun could unify the various races of the Divine Desolate and form a very powerful force that could sweep through all the empires and kingdoms of the Divine Desolate. Moreover, he would establish a new order and make all the living beings of the Divine Desolate submit to the order of the Divine King. Her Highness can roughly estimate where the primordial ruins that the Crown Prince is exploring are. If the Phoenix Queen joins us, we will be able to take down the Crown Prince's primordial ruins. Luo Yaya said again. I plan to let the Nine Dragon Kingdom join us, is that possible? Qin Yun asked. Of course. Luo Yaya nodded and said, if the Nine Dragon Kingdom joins us, then the warriors on my side and the Phoenix warriors can pretend to be the Nine Dragon warriors. Try not to let the Crown Prince and the primordial factions know that we are involved. Chapter 3174. Daluo Crown Prince should already know that the Phoenix Kingdom and Qin Yun were secretly working together, but he definitely did not know to what extent. If the Phoenix Kingdom sent a powerful army to fight for the primordial ruins with Qin Yun, it would be equivalent to falling out with the Crown Prince. Both Phoenix Queen and Princess Luo Shu did not want to fall out with the Crown Prince. But Qin Yun could, because it was the Crown Prince who provoked him first, and in public. They had long fallen out with each other. Even if Qin Yun did not attack the Crown Prince would take revenge on Qin Yun. In particular, the Crown Prince had once threatened to capture Qin Yun, the so-called godly king's wife, and make her his female slave. This was what Qin Yun could not tolerate. He was not strong enough, otherwise he would have captured the Crown Prince and beaten him up a long time ago. Although Luo Yaya had a cold expression the entire time, she was very excited in her heart. She had finally told Qin Yun about the primordial ancient ruins. If everything went smoothly, Princess Luo Shu would join hands with Qin Yun to attack the primordial ancient ruins and snatch it away. Princess Luo Shu was furious because of the primordial ruins. The primordial faction had completely abandoned her, and had given all the ruins that belonged to her to the Crown Prince. Sister Yaya, if Phoenix Queen is also abandoned by the primordial faction, then can Princess Luo Shu join forces with her? Qin Yun asked. Previously, Princess Luo Shu had never come into contact with Phoenix Queen, mainly because the primordial factions behind them did not want them to come into contact. They were afraid that they would join forces to resist the primordial factions, or exchange information. Luo Yaya said, "When it is confirmed that Phoenix Queen has been abandoned by the primordial faction, Her Highness will definitely contact her. I also look forward to working with Phoenix Queen." Phoenix Queen is not weak. Why was she abandoned by the primordial faction? Hasn't the primordial faction been supporting her for a long time? Qin Yun was very puzzled. The primordial faction did not support Phoenix Queen. To be precise, they only exchanged benefits with her. Now that Phoenix Queen has no benefits, they naturally will not continue trading with her. Or perhaps, the primordial faction found a better partner. Luo Yaya said, "That's right. Now that the empires and kingdoms of many universes are in the divine wilderness, it is normal for the primordial faction behind Phoenix Queen to find a better partner." Qin Yun nodded. Qin Yun wanted to understand more about the Taisher powers, but Luo Yaya was not particularly clear. She told Qin Yun that when he met Princess Luo Shu in the future, he would definitely know more. Luo Yaya hurriedly returned to Princess Luo Shu's side. She wanted to pass on an important message. At the same time, she also wanted to see how the divine arrows she helped Qin Yun were doing. Nine Dragon Kingdom also wanted to know the situation. The Nine Dragon Kingdom also wants to know the situation of the Golden Claw Treasure Land. They are very concerned about their ally, and Qin Yun is also very concerned about them. Long Jinchuan had a good relationship with Qin Yun, and Qin Yun had asked Yang Long Lingyu to mention the Nine Dragons Kingdom to the Nine Yang Dharma Spirit. Hence, the Nine Dragons Kingdom received a certain amount of care in the God's wilderness. A rather prosperous and powerful clan took the initiative to approach the Nine Dragons Kingdom, willing to let the Nine Dragons Kingdom enter their treasured land and coexist peacefully. This was obviously arranged by the Nine Sons Law Spirit. Therefore, the Nine Dragons Kingdom was even more grateful and trusted Qin Yun. King not want to be the Yun Kingdom was to be the Golden Kingdom. Princess to King Queen was not to be Yun King. He was. Kingdom not to Yun Prince. As for the specifics, he did not tell them about the secret meeting. He only told the Nine Dragons Kingdom to prepare. If they really wanted to take down the primordial era ruins occupied by the Crown Prince of Daluo, they would definitely need a large number of powerful warriors. Casualties would be unavoidable. Qin Yun took out the Nine Suns Sky Raising Pagoda and entered it. He said to the Primal Beginning Divine Mirror, "Brother Primal Beginning, do you know about the Primal Beginning ruins?" Also, what's that primordial? This brother Grand Prime was only a replica. Although he possessed many of the original Grand Prime's memories, most of them were incomplete. This was especially so for the important part regarding the ancient Grand Prime. There was basically not a single memory. I don't know. Old brother Taisher sighed. Qin Yun, you should understand that I was not born in that era, I was created by you. Qin Yun told brother Taisher about the primordial ancient ruins and asked him to analyze the situation. Old brother Taisher had gradually developed emotions and was no longer as mechanical as before. After listening to Qin Yun's explanation, he was silent for a while before saying, "The primordial ancient ruins should be very important. The Nine Suns Dharma Spirit's divine sun cultivation method should have been comprehended from the primordial era civilization. Then, there should be many primordial era inheritances in the primordial era ruins. It's not easy to fight for the primordial era ruins." Qin Yun let out a long sigh. This time, we are going against the power of the Empire. Qin Yun, have you ever thought that the Crown Prince of Daluo might be setting up a trap for you? He is the Crown Prince. No matter how arrogant and condescending he is definitely not stupid. Old brother Taisher said. Yes, this Crown Prince of Daluo is very powerful. I can see it from the way he used Lu Yi to deal with me. Qin Yun nodded. Lu Yi led 20,000 tyrant dragon warriors but was unable to take me down. His body mysteriously self-destructed and almost killed me. Thinking back to Lu Ye's self-destruction, Qin Yun still felt some fear because the self-destruction of an expert of Lu Ye's level was extremely terrifying. If not for the many experienced experts present who could disperse the power in time, Qin Yun might have been blasted to pieces. Later on, I interrogated him in all sorts of ways, but I only managed to get some information about the primordial era ruins. Moreover, this guy's description of the primordial era ruins is very exaggerated and it sounds very tempting. Qin Yun recalled Lu Ye's words. Lu Yi said that as long as the Crown Prince of Daluo could obtain it, he would be able to surpass the divine universe realm and force the Daluo celestial emperor to abdicate. Of course, Lu Yi did not say the exact location of the primordial era ruins. Qin Yun could tell at that time that Lu Ye's words seemed to have been set up. In other words, this Lu Yi was the real Lu Yi, but his soul and body had been modified by someone, or rather, he was a puppet. This move by the Crown Prince of Daluo is very clever. Lu Yi is very useful. If he can't catch me, he will self-destruct. If the self-destruction is useless, he will leave some words to lure me into the trap. Qin Yun said. Then are you going or not? Old brother Taisher asked. If the primordial era ruins really exist, I will definitely go. Qin Yun smiled. Outside of the Nine Suns sacred ground, I have never been afraid of anyone. Qin Yun's current strength was still unable to cause any waves within the Nine Suns sacred ground, but it was enough outside. Even if those empires wanted to deal with him, as long as he hid in the vast divine desolate, the empires would not be able to catch him. Chapter 3175. Not only did Qin Yun think of the trap set up in the primordial era ruins, he also thought of the Crown Prince's desire to see if Princess Luo Shu would snatch the primordial era ruins. The Daluo Celestial Emperor might have let Princess Luo Shu off, but the Crown Prince wouldn't let her off. As long as Princess Luo Shu was still alive, it was entirely possible for her to return to the Empire and inherit the throne. Therefore, the Crown Prince of Daluo wanted to get rid of Princess Luo Shu. The Crown Prince of Daluo might be testing if Princess Luo Shu is working with me. Qin Yun pondered over the Crown Prince's ploy. Regardless of what he does, his probing will yield a pretty good outcome. If Princess Luo Shu joins hands with me, she will definitely bring my men to that primordial ancient site. It's extremely likely that he got the Grand Prime organization to leak the location of the Grand Prime ruins to Princess Luo Shu so that she could go there. That's right, Luo Shu. Qin Yun thought carefully and let out a long sigh. Not only did the Taisher faction break their promise to Princess Luo Shu, they even wanted to torture her to death. The Taisher faction behind Princess Luo Shu had originally promised to give her a small Taisher historical site, but they later reneged. Therefore, they were definitely afraid of Princess Luo Shu's revenge. As such, they could join forces with Crown Prince Luo to eliminate Princess Luo Shu. If the exalted Celestial Emperor pursued the matter, it would all be the Crown Prince's fault. The primordial ancient ruins should be real. In order to lure Princess Luo Shu, they must use the real primordial ancient ruins, said Qin Yun. It's a pity that I can't contact the Nine Yang Law Spirit. He must know a lot about the primordial ancient ruins, old brother Taisher said. Qin Yun had tried to contact the Nine Suns Dharma Spirit from time to time, but now he has completely given up. From his point of view, he and the Nine Suns Dharma Spirit are existences of completely different worlds. They should not communicate frequently. He wanted to find the Nine Yang Dharma Spirit mainly to ask about Xieqiru and the others. Xieqiru, Yushi and Yu Tian had all gone to the Outerverse. It was said that they had already returned, but Qin Yun had not received any news about them. Is it possible for the Nine Yang Dharma Spirit to become a human? Qin Yun previously heard that the Nine Yang Dharma Spirit wants to transform into a human. Maybe, but after he turns into a human, he'll definitely be very special. Old brother Taisher said, if such a powerful Dharma Spirit turns into a human, it's very likely that it's to temper its mind and experience how living beings survive in the divine desolate. It might even seal its memories and not retain the memories of the Nine Yang Dharma Spirit. In other words, the Nine Yang Dharma Spirit will create a doppelganger. When the doppelganger has grown to a certain extent, it will then merge with the doppelganger's memories, said Qin Yun. Now that he said it, he suddenly thought about it carefully and became extremely frightened. He thought about how he had been created, and for a long time, he had been manipulated by others in various ways. He had experienced many rebirths, and it could be said that it had been very difficult for him to reach this stage. Now that he mentioned this matter to brother Taisher, Qin Yun could not help but connect the dots. No. I should be an independent entity, not a clone. Qin Yun would never accept this fact. Of course you're not a clone. Right now, you're completely independent, old brother Taisher said with a smile. If it was before, powerful magic spirits might be able to take your body, but now, don't even think about it. Qin Yun asked with a frown, why? Old brother Taisher said, because you have me. Don't forget that your Imperial Heaven Heart is protected by the energy body. Powerful energy body is the form of the super nether sun when it transforms into a small universe. With this thing protecting your body and me here, no one can take away your body. That's for the best. Qin Yun no longer let his imagination run wild. He already has a preliminary plan in his heart regarding the fight for the primordial ancient ruins. He still has to confirm the specifics before he can perfect the plan. He wants to see if Phoenix Queen and Princess Luo Shu will really participate. When the time comes, he will have to discuss all the details with them. Strange Cat King and his general's clone are outside the Golden Claw Treasure Land. His main body is leading the fleet flying in the distant universe. After arriving at the Divine Desolate, they still have to go to the vicinity of the Myriad Realm's Divine Sun to replenish energy. Although the fleet has not arrived yet, Strange Cat King is not saying a word. His expression is grave as he looked at the Golden Claw Treasure Land. The general beside him has rarely seen their king so nervous. Your Majesty, attacking the Golden Claw Treasure Land is very simple. Previously, those trash Scorpio Kingdom could attack it. Our fleet can definitely attack it easily. The general wants to ease Strange Cat King's mood. Qin Yun deliberately let the Scorpio people's trash break in. Qin Yun wants to create a false impression that the defense of the Golden Claw Treasure Land is very weak. He also wants us to think that the Golden Claw treasure land has been destroyed. He wants us to think that now is the best time to attack the Golden Claw treasure land. The general is startled. If this is really the case, then isn't Qin Yun fully prepared and waiting for them to jump in? Your Majesty, can Qin Yun really block our fleet? The general suddenly became worried. How about we wait a little longer? When everyone's cultivation falls back to the 9th layer of the divine space realm, they can all come to the divine desolate. Strange Cat King shook his head and said, "We can't wait any longer. If we send out all the fleets, Qin Yun will definitely leave. This person is very smart. If he really can't beat him, he will absolutely not fight head-on. Now we have to send out part of the fleet to fight him head-on. Only then will we have a chance to capture him. Even if this king knows that he is prepared, we must still attack the Golden Claw treasure land. The arrow is on the bowstring, it has to be released. If we don't fight him, he will come to us sooner or later. What I fear the most is that he will sneak up on you, so I want to take this opportunity to put an end to it." When Qin Yun killed 20,000 Tyrannosaurus warriors, Strange Cat King was already frightened. If Qin Yun used this kind of method to target the Strange Cat Kingdom, it would make him collapse. Therefore, he wants to put an end to it here so that he can enter the 9-Sun Holy Land with peace of mind. Your Majesty, if... The general wanted to say something but stopped. "If we lose," Strange Cat King said with a smile. "If we lose, we lose. There is nothing to be afraid of. What this king wants is to put an end to it, whether we win or lose, isn't that right?" The general did not speak. If the Strange Cat Kingdom loses, its reputation will be completely destroyed. And now, Strange Cat King obviously does not care about the kingdom's reputation. At this time, a voice came from outside the small building where Strange Cat King was. "Is the clone of His Majesty Strange Cat King inside? We are the envoys of the Daluo Empire, the Heavenly Hong Empire, the Great Blue Empire, and the Hua Ling Empire respectively. We have something important to discuss with His Majesty Strange Cat King." Strange Cat King was shocked. The envoys of the 4 empires actually came to find him, and their tone was quite polite. What is the purpose of this? Strange Cat King closed his eyes and thought quickly about what value he had in the eyes of the empires. Chapter 3176. Although Exotic Cat King suffered a crushing defeat when he attacked the Peacock Treasure Land, it was because he knew too little about Qin Yun. It was not because he was stupid that he lost the battle. Later on, he also deeply reflected on it. He now knew that in the eyes of those empires, he was definitely an idiot. Now that these empires had come to find him so eagerly, it definitely wasn't anything good. One who is unaccountably solicitous is hiding evil intentions. He was very clear on this principle. However, he couldn't be sure why these envoys were looking for him at the same time. After some quick thinking, he guessed that these empires were looking for him because he was about to attack the Golden Claw treasure land. Cat King sent the general away, tidied up his clothes, and then opened the door with a smile on his face, allowing the emissary outside to enter his small building floating in the air. He decided to play dumb until the end and cooperate with these empires cautiously to avoid any pitfalls. He only needed to stick to his plan and settle things with Qin Yun before heading to the 9-Sun sacred ground. The envoys were very polite. After entering, they all bowed. The status of envoys from the empire was quite high. Generally speaking, there was no need for them to be so respectful to a king's clone. This made Strange Cat King feel that there was a trap. He didn't hold back and deliberately put on a very proud look. He laughed and said, "The envoys are too polite. I didn't expect that this king would be so valued by the empire. This is great. Lord Envoys, please sit down and have a good talk." Although these envoys were full of smiles on the surface, they despised this exotic Cat King in all kinds of ways in their hearts. In fact, in their eyes, the celestial emperor of their own empire was supreme, and the kings of other kingdoms were just small fries. I heard that His Majesty the Strange Cat King's fleet has already set off. In another 8 or 9 days, they will reach the vicinity of the Golden Claw treasure land. The emissary from the Daluo Empire said, "That's right, this king and Qin Yun will fight to the death. This time, this king will definitely flatten the Golden Claw treasure land as fast as possible. Previously, I was careless when I attacked the Peacock treasured land. This time, it won't happen again," Exotic Cat King said with a confident look on his face. He had deliberately shown this. In fact, he was very clear in his heart that this attack on the Golden Claw treasure land only had a 50% chance of success. Yes, King Exotic Cat had prepared for the worst in this attack on the Golden Claw treasure land, which he had never done before. Because once they had this kind of mentality, their confidence would be lacking, and it would be difficult for them to display their imposing manner. Strange Cat also wanted to be confident in this battle, but he couldn't raise his confidence. This was mainly because his strong intuition told him that this battle would not go smoothly. "Your Majesty, are you really confident that you can take down the Golden Claw treasure land?" the emissary from the Great Blue Empire asked. This emissary had blue skin all over his body and was very easy to recognize. "Of course. Sir Envoys, don't you know a lot about the Golden Claw treasure land? Then quickly tell this king." Strange Cat King said with smile. "Of course, even if Qin Yun has great ability, this king will definitely kill him this time." The messengers looked at each other in dismay, and in their hearts, they cursed Cat King for being an arrogant fool. "Your Majesty, according to our very reliable information, the Phoenix Kingdom has secretly allied with Qin Yun. The Phoenix Kingdom has given Qin Yun great help, so your attack on the Golden Claw treasure land won't be too smooth," the envoy from the Daluo Empire said. Strange Cat King's heart trembled because he didn't have this information, but he still laughed and said, "What is a trifling Phoenix Kingdom? Will the Phoenix Queen be willing to resist this king's fleet at all costs for Qin Yun? Sir Envoys should be very clear that even the Empire would have to pay a great price to repel this king's fleet." "It doesn't need to pay too much," the envoy from the Heavenly Hong Empire said with smile. "Your Majesty, the Empire rarely goes to war, so you must have a misunderstanding about the strength of the Empire." Of course, Strange Cat King knew that the Empire was very strong. After all, the Empire had no enemies in the universe, and occupied the most resources, so it never needed to fight with others. The other kingdoms knew the most about the strength of the Empire, like the Crown Prince and the Princess of the Heavenly Emperor. That's right, after all, the Empire has never needed to fight for many years, so of course it is very strong, otherwise it would not be an empire. Strange Cat King said with smile. "In fact, as long as my Strange Cat Kingdom develops to a certain degree, maybe it can also become an empire. Your Majesty, we can help you break through the Golden Claw treasure land and lend you 200,000 powerful soldiers." The one who spoke was the envoy from the Huoling Empire. Why does the Empire want to participate in such a small dispute? Strange Cat King was puzzled. He was also very surprised. 200,000 soldiers of the Empire, they were not ordinary soldiers, they were definitely very powerful. There is no reason, it is because Qin Yun shamelessly calls himself the Divine King and thinks that he is the Order of the Divine Desolate. He does not put the Order of the Four Empires in his eyes. He wants to dominate the Divine Desolate given to all living beings in the universe. He is the public enemy of all living beings. We naturally have to get rid of this scourge, the envoy from the Great Luo Empire said. Strange Cat King sneered in his heart. These empires used to dominate the universe, provoking the kingdoms in their universe to kill each other, taking pleasure in it and at the same time suppressing the growth of the kingdoms. This kind of bullshit empire was the scourge of the universe. The soldiers of the empire are very precious. 200,000 soldiers. What kind of price does this king need to pay? Strange Cat King now understood that the four empires wanted to take advantage of this battle to capture Qin Yun alive. Qin Yun's divine king heavenly seal and bloodline heavenly pattern box were very important. The four empires were not optimistic about Qin Yun. They were worried that Strange Cat King would successfully conquer the Golden Claw treasure land and capture Qin Yun. At that time, Strange Cat King might develop into an empire. For empires were enough in the Divine Desolate. If one more appeared, it might break the balance. We don't need any price, just, Your Majesty Strange Cat King will let our soldiers fight in the name of Strange Cat King. We will definitely capture Qin Yun alive and hand him over to Your Majesty Strange Cat King. The Great Blue Empire's emissary said with a smile. Strange Cat King cursed in his heart. What's the use of dealing with Qin Yun? After he captured Qin Yun alive, the biggest benefit he could get was Qin Yun's divine king heavenly seal and bloodline heavenly pattern box. What about Qin Yun's divine king heavenly seal and bloodline heavenly pattern box? These are all very precious, Cat King asked. Yes, these things are taboo. Our four empires will join forces to destroy them. The emissary of the Huo Ling Empire said, as long as these things are destroyed, no one will be able to completely dominate the divine wilderness. Strange Cat King felt very uncomfortable because these emissaries really thought he was an idiot. Destroy the divine king heavenly seal and bloodline heavenly pattern box? Even children can't be fooled. Race. Chapter 3177. Strange Cat thought for a moment. If he refused the request of the four empires, then he would definitely be suppressed by the four empires after entering the Nine-Sun Holy Land. Although the emissaries of the four empires came to talk to him with smiles on their faces, they were just being polite. If he didn't agree, the four emissaries might immediately show a different face. Strange Cat knew that Qin Yun is very strong, and now that he has the help of the Phoenix Kingdom, attacking the Golden Claw treasure land will definitely be very difficult. Sir Emissary, you can use the name of the empires to deal with Qin Yun. Why do you want to borrow the name of our little Strange Cat Kingdom? Strange Cat said. The main power of our four empires is in the Nine-Sun Holy Land. Moreover, we don't bully the weak. You should know that there are many big and small forces in the Divine Desolate. If our four empires join hands to attack a small Golden Claw treasure land, it will make those forces fear the empires and then unite to fight against the empires. In this way, the Divine Desolate might become chaotic in the future. This is what our empires don't want to see. We hope for peace in the Divine Desolate. What our empires don't want the most is to see war. The Tianhong Empire emissary said. Bullsh *T. Strange Cat really wanted to curse. Aren't all the big and small wars in the universe secretly instigated by the empires? How could he say such shameless words at this time? This king agrees to cheer for the emissary, but I have a presumptuous request. This king has long heard of the great name of the Taisha factions. I wonder if the empires can help this king build a bridge, and have the Taisha factions give this king some instructions? No problem, we will definitely do our best to have the Taisha factions discuss with His Majesty Strange Cat. The great Luo Empire emissary immediately replied with a smile. Strange Cat cursed again in his heart. To agree so readily and vaguely, it is most likely that the emissary didn't take it seriously and just wanted to fool him. Of course, Strange Cat is very happy in his heart because the 200,000 soldiers of the four empires will most likely become cannon fodder. He hopes that Qin Yun can quickly kill those 200,000 imperial soldiers. Then when will the imperial soldiers come? Strange Cat King asked. I have to discuss the battle plan with everyone. This king has already formulated a battle plan. If the imperial soldiers join in, we will need to formulate a new plan. The day of the attack on the Golden Claw treasure land will be delayed. There's no need for any plans. After your warships break through the defenses of the Golden Claw treasured land, leave the rest to our soldiers. Once Qin Yun is captured, your exotic cat kingdom will announce the results of the battle. Don't mention that the Empire's warriors were involved. The envoy of the Tian Hong Empire said. All right. Exotic Cat King nodded and said, Thank you, Lord Envoys, for your help. Please thank the 4 heavenly kings for me. You're welcome. The 4 envoys laughed. Cat King was very polite as he sent the 4 envoys out of the small building. His ears suddenly trembled, and waves of very strange spiritual energy waves rippled out. This allowed him to release his sense of hearing far away and track the envoys. After the 4 emissaries left, they flew in the sky. Strange Cat King is really an arrogant fool. He actually wants us to thank Heaven Emperor on his behalf? Is he worthy of thanking the Heavenly Emperor? That's right, that's right. Heaven Emperor doesn't even know about such a small matter. Now, it's the Crown Prince who is in charge of this matter. Heaven Emperor is thinking of ways to transcend the divine space realm. Strange Cat King's fleet is just cannon fodder. Wait until he attacks the Golden Claw treasured land and consumes Qin Yun's power. It won't be too late for our warriors to act later. This idiot wants to hook up with the Taisher powers. Is he worthy? Those high and mighty Taisher powers never put the kingdom in their eyes. Phoenix Queen, that stupid woman, was cheated miserably by the Taisher powers. Ha ha! Forget about Phoenix Queen. Isn't Princess Luo Shu the same? The envoys of the Empire flew in the sky and chatted happily. Strange Cat King in the small building, after hearing this, the corner of his mouth slightly raised, immediately wrote a secret letter, and then took out a black cat. He put the secret letter into a pearl, and let the cat swallow the pearl. Finally, his eyes flickered as if he was injecting his avatar soul into the cat's body. At night, the black cat quietly landed on the ground from the small floating building and then quickly ran towards the Golden Claw treasured land. After arriving at the entrance of the Golden Claw treasured land, the black cat spat out the pearl and sent a message to the guard. This is an important secret letter, please give it to Qin Yun. After the guard heard the message, he immediately contacted Tain Ba. The black cat ran for a while and then turned into a burst of flame and self-destructed. Inside the small building, Strange Cat King opened his eyes and sighed, Qin Yun, I hope you can give this king a pleasant surprise. He did not expect that he would have to cooperate with Qin Yun. However, he did not change his decision to attack the Golden Claw treasured land. Tain Ba arrived outside the Golden Claw treasured land and took out the pearl. There is a piece of paper inside, but there is not a single word written on it. After Tain Ba checked the paper, he handed it over to Qin Yun. Qin Yun obtained the paper inside the 9-sun heaven-raising pagoda. He opened his heavenly eye and saw many runes. There are many cat paw prints on those runes. It is clear that they are the runes of the cat-eared people. He quickly deciphered those runes and obtained several paragraphs of text. After he finished reading, he is very shocked. Immediately contact General Chu and Luo Ye. Tell them to come as soon as possible. Qin Yun is very shocked to learn that the 4 great empires are sending soldiers to attack the Golden Claw treasured land. These are the Empire's soldiers. He is now a bit panicked. What surprised him the most is that this news was actually sent by Strange Cat King. Although there is no indication that it was sent by Strange Cat King, he is very sure that it was sent by him. Luo Yaya arrived very quickly. She still did not reveal her identity. Instead, she is standing beside Qin Yun as a divine moon woman. Chu Limin learned that this matter is very important. She also rushed over through the teleportation formation overnight. Inside the secret room of the 9-sun heaven-raising pagoda, there are only Qin Yun, Luo Yea, Chu Limin and Tain Ba. Qin Yun read out the contents of the letter and said, This should be the information sent to me by Strange Cat King. Do you think it is credible? After Tain Ba heard this, he is very shocked because when the time comes, Great Blue Empire's soldiers will attack the Golden Claw treasured land. Luo Yaya and Chu Limin are also very surprised. The empires are making a move, moreover it is a joint operation of the four great empires. This kind of matter, the empires certainly do not want the outside world to know. Qin Yun, who has always been belittled, can make the four empires join hands. This will indeed cause a great impact. It will make the various races of the Divine Desolate even more loyal to this Divine King. Race. Chapter 3178. Although Qin Yun expected that before the attack of Exotic Cat Fleet, many things would happen, he just didn't expect that things would be much more than he expected. Especially the fact that the four empires sent so many soldiers and Exotic Cat Kings secretly provided him with information, he was very surprised. Exotic Cat King has always been licking Great Luo Empire's boots, but that was because he had no other choice. Now that Divine Desolate has appeared and the Universe Law Spirit has caused many people's cultivation to regress, Exotic Cat King is no longer afraid of the Empire's power, but he still doesn't dare to shed all pretense of cordiality with the Empire. Chu Limin said. Even so, there is no need for him to betray the four empires. Is he not afraid that I will tell the four empires about this? Qin Yun looked at the letter full of doubt because Exotic Cat King's move is very dangerous. He is betting. Exotic Cat King is betting that you will cooperate with him. The letter only says that there will be 200,000 soldiers sent by the four empires mixed into the Exotic Cat Fleet. It didn't say anything specific. Qin Yun said with frown, but why should I believe him? What if this is a trap? Do I have to send people to talk to him? Lua shook her head. Don't go. What if this is a trap set by Exotic Cat King? Even if it is true, he will be closely watched by the spies of the four empires. If you come into contact with him, it will be very easy to find out. As for whether we believe him or not, we can just send people to investigate the whereabouts of the Empire's soldiers. Chu Limin looked at Luo Yaya with some surprise. She suddenly felt that this round-faced woman is not simple and she didn't realize this before. All right, immediately send people to investigate the whereabouts of the Empire's soldiers. There are 200,000 of them in total. Even if they are scattered, it will be easy to find them, right? Qin Yun said. The vicinity of Golden Claw Treasure Land is filled with our spies. There are also many spies in the Exotic Cat Fleet. They will be able to send back information very soon. Chu Limin said. Phoenix Kingdom's intelligence network is also very good. Of course, Shadow Pavilion is even more powerful. Although Luo Yaya didn't say anything, Qin Yun knew that she would definitely make arrangements very soon. The Empire's target is me. They want my Divine King Heavenly Seal and Bloodline Heavenly Pattern Box, but they will never expose their identity as Empire soldiers. After all, they are the Supreme Empire. Now that the four empires are working together to deal with me, all the powers in Divine Desolate will be shocked. Qin Yun said. The 200,000 soldiers of the Empire are very strong, but it will be very difficult for them to break through the defense of the Golden Claw Treasure Land. That's why they want to borrow the strength of Exotic Cat's fleet to break into the Golden Claw Treasure Land. Then, the 200,000 soldiers will attack. Chu Limin said. The four great empires have joined hands and dispatched 200,000 soldiers. They believe that they will definitely win, so they must be very confident. Qin Yun said. Strange Cat King must be very unhappy with these empires. He promised the Empire to use the Imperial warriors as cannon fodder and consume my strength. The reason he sent me this information is so that I can spend more energy to deal with the Empire's warriors. When the time comes, he will be able to reap the benefits. Strange Cat has always pretended to be arrogant, but this guy is a smart man. He suffered a loss before, and this time he became very cautious, Luo Yaya said. If that's the case, then we have to be prepared. After the defense of the Golden Claw Treasured Land is breached, The first thing we need to deal with is the Empire's soldiers. Qin Yun said. We don't have much time. Do we have time to prepare? Chu Limin asked. Now that the four great empires have joined in, she believes that Qin Yun's battle will be even more difficult. However, because she has seen Qin Yun's powerful tactics, she did not let Qin Yun retreat. If Qin Yun does not retreat, it means that he has the confidence to win. There's still time. Originally, I didn't plan to use this method, but since the Empire is forcing me, don't blame me for being impolite. Qin Yun's eyes flickered. Hearing Qin Yun's words, Luo Yeya and Chu Limin felt a lot more at ease. Oh right, the information about Lu Yi and the 20,000 tyrant dragon warriors has all disappeared from the magic mirror. This matter has not been spread. It seems like the Crown Prince of Great Luo wants to suppress this matter, and will not come for the time being. Chu Limin said. Qin Yun said with a sneer. These guys from the Empire want to deal with me, but they don't dare to do it openly. They were killed by me and suffered heavy losses, so they are hiding. Right now, I don't have the strength to enter the Nine-Sun Holy Land. Wait until I have the strength to enter. At that time, let's see if you can still hide. He clenched his fist. This time, the alliance of the four empires meant that these empires are of one mind. Not only do they not recognize him as the Divine King, they also want to kill him. Qin Yun did not have much contact with the Great Blue Empire, Hualing Empire and Tianhong Empire. But now that they have taken the initiative to provoke him, Qin Yun will remember them and ruthlessly deal with them in the future. Luo Yeya said, the heavenly emperors of the empires definitely don't have too much time to care about this kind of thing. The alliance of the four empires is most likely caused by the Crown Princes and the Taisher factions behind them. This Crown Prince of Great Luo, he has suffered heavy losses and lost face, so he wants to drag the other Crown Princes to lose face with him? All right, I will do as he wishes. Qin Yun said. I will let these bullshit Crown Princes know that even if they have the backing of the Empire and Father Heavenly Emperor, they will still lose to me. In the future, I will crazily slap their faces until their Father Heavenly Emperor comes out. Luo Yeya and Chu Limin did not doubt Qin Yun's words. Of course, if it was in the past, they would definitely look at Qin Yun as if he is a madman. Soon after, Chu Limin requested to have a private talk with Qin Yun, mainly about Phoenix Queen's attitude. Phoenix Queen has already nodded. She wants to join forces with Qin Yun to seize the Taisher historical site of the Crown Prince of Great Luo. Chu Limin also said that Phoenix Queen is very angry because she was betrayed by the Taisher faction. Not only was she cheated of a large amount of benefits, she was also ruthlessly humiliated by the other party. Phoenix Queen said that not only does she want to fight with the Crown Prince over the Taisher historical site, she also wants to take revenge on the Taisher faction. If necessary, she is willing to personally come to the Golden Claw Treasure Land and lead all the warriors of the Phoenix Kingdom to help your Majesty repel the enemy. Chu Limin said, there is only one condition. I hope that your Majesty can help her take revenge on the Taisher faction. I will, but I don't need Phoenix Queen's help right now. Her power needs to be used to deal with the Crown Prince of Great Luo. Oh right, the Taisher faction's sudden attitude towards her, is it related to the Celestial Emperor of Great Luo? Qin Yun asked. Yes. The Celestial Emperor of Great Luo no longer interferes with his children's struggles and only recognizes the Crown Prince, so Phoenix Queen has been abandoned. Chu Limin nodded. General Chu, go back and tell Phoenix Queen that we still have two very strong allies. Qin Yun said. After we finish with the exotic cat fleet, we will join hands and deal a heavy blow to the Crown Prince of Great Luo. Chapter 3179. Chu Limin was immediately alarmed. The strong ally that Qin Yun mentioned was definitely very strong, but she could not think of who it could be. What other allies? Chu Limin asked. Princess Luo Shu and the Nine Dragon Kingdom. Qin Yun said, Although the Nine-Dragon Kingdom was intercepted by the armies of the two crown princes, their losses were not too heavy and they will be able to recover very quickly. The Nine-Dragon Kingdom has great potential and the dragon bloodline in their bodies is very strong. Chu Limin was not too surprised that the Nine-Dragon Kingdom was Qin Yun's powerful ally. It was only because they were injured that she temporarily excluded them. What surprised her was that Princess Luo Shu had been in contact with Qin Yun for a long time. What's the situation on Princess Luo Shu's side? According to the information I received, she has been missing for some time and has been marginalized. However, the Phoenix King said that as long as she is not dead, it means that she still has a very powerful force to protect herself, so much so that the Crown Prince of Great Luo does not dare to kill her. Chu Limin asked. The other kingdoms did not know much about Princess Luo Shu's situation. It could be seen that Princess Luo Shu's secrecy was very good. Qin Yun let Luo Ye in. After Luo Ye entered, she said, "General Chu, I am the Shadow Pavilion Master, Luo Ye." Chu Limin had heard of the Shadow Pavilion, but she did not know who the Shadow Pavilion Master was. She had never seen her before. She never expected that the Shadow Pavilion Master would be such a woman and that she had always been by Qin Yun's side. She thought about it carefully and felt that it was very normal. Didn't the Phoenix Queen also send her, the great general, to come into contact with Qin Yun? Sending a trusted aide was to show her attitude. Is Her Highness all right? Chu Limin asked. There are only 300,000 warriors, but they are all very outstanding warriors. Currently, there are 200,000 hidden in the vicinity, Luo Yaya said. When Chu Limin heard this, she was shocked once again. This was a huge sum of money. I don't need your help right now. I don't even need the 50,000 Phoenix warriors. Qin Yun said with a smile, you just need to deliver those divine arrows on time. Seeing that Qin Yun was still so relaxed, Luo Yaya and Chu Limin knew that Qin Yun's battle might have a shocking reversal. Qin Yun still had things to prepare. It was mainly to deal with the warriors of the four empires. Therefore, he let Luo Yaya and Chu Limin familiarize himself with this place. This time, he did not need to forge any tools, but he needed a lot of energy. Soon, a few days had passed, and there were still 3 days left before the arrival of the Bizarre Cat Fleet. Over the past 3 days, news of the magnificent Bizarro Cat Fleet had spread across the magic mirror. The Bizarro Cat Fleet flew in the sky above Deity Desolate. Although the large transport ships that were 1 to 2,000 meters long were rather old, it was still quite shocking to see so many of them flying in the sky. There were more than 2,000 of these giant transport ships, while the main battleships looked relatively small, only 200 to 300 meters long. The largest one was only 400 to 500 meters long. One had to know that the battleships of the exotic cat kingdom were very advanced. Compared to the dozens of broken battleships of the Scorpio kingdom, the difference was like heaven and earth. By the time the fleet reached the divine wilderness, the news had spread to all the powerful races. The big shots of the powerful clans all flew to the fleet. They wanted to see how strong the famous exotic cat fleet was. These powerful races knew that empires and kingdoms had deep foundations, but they had never seen it with their own eyes. Among the kingdoms, the one with the most powerful warships was the exotic cat kingdom. On the other hand, the Scorpio kingdom's warriors were very strong, and they knew how to use poison. They fought fiercely and without any regard for their lives. As for the strength of the empire, nobody knows. Currently, the strength displayed by the empire was mainly displayed by the Crown Prince. The Crown Prince is not the heavenly emperor of the empire, so he is unable to mobilize the entire empire's military power. The power he can mobilize is all nurtured by himself. Although the empire's fleet and army are very powerful, they are rarely dispatched. Moreover, the generals of the fleet and army only listen to the orders of the heavenly emperor. If the Crown Prince wants to obtain the loyalty of these generals, he will need to display his formidable strength. Otherwise, it will be impossible for him to gain the approval of the generals. The news of the fleet entering Deity Desolate spread very quickly. Yu Shangyun came to find Qin Yun, but she did not ask anything. She just wanted to have a simple chat with Qin Yun, doing what lovers should do. She is very clear that if Qin Yun needs help, he will definitely ask her. Qin Yun did not ask anything, it means that he can deal with it. The great battle is imminent, but Qin Yun is not nervous at all. From time to time, he will tease the steamed Bun sisters Zi Qingqing and play with Shui Tianzi and Ling Yuner. Naturally, they are playing inside the 9-sun heaven-raising pagoda. When Yi Yaoxue came to deliver the 10,000 soul devourer, she also had a chat with Qin Yun. A few days ago, Luo Yaofeng came to find Qin Yun and was brought to Xian Rujing's lake by Qin Yun to become stronger together with Xian Rujing. By Suxin, Star God and Xiao Xian Qin came to find Qin Yun and then entered Golden Claw Treasureland's lake to undergo transformation. Now even Zi Qingqing and Shui Tianzi have entered Golden Claw Treasureland's lake. Therefore, Qin Yun's days can be considered as carefree and happy. Luo Yaya and Chu Limin do not know, if they did, they would be so worried that they would vomit blood. Because in their opinion, Strange Cat King's chances of victory are very high. Golden Claw Treasureland's lake is very well protected. There is also a teleportation formation made by An Wukong. If something unexpected happens, the people inside the lake will immediately be teleported to the 4 divine suns. Xian Rujing and Luo Yaofeng came out of another Treasureland's lake. They have become very strong, their upper limit is 400,000 divine cosmos power. They are very crucial, they are Qin Yun's main force in defeating Strange Cat King's fleet. Qin Yun has also been very busy during this period of time. He has produced many large and small myriad devouring god arrows. There are still many large ones left, but they are few and Qin Yun doesn't want to use them. He believes that small myriad devouring god arrows are enough to deal with Strange Cat King's fleet. Xiao Yun, are we really crucial? Xian Rujing is standing on top of the altar, holding hands with Luo Yaofeng and looking at those large battleships. Your power will be released in coordination with Heavenly Law Altar, it will surely be very strong. When the time comes, just listen to my command. Qin Yun said. These past few days, Qin Yun has made many preparations. Most of the work is done by him leading inscription masters from Divine Mountain. The process is also very secretive, nobody knows about it. Even Xian Rujing doesn't know about Qin Yun's overall plan, but she trusts Qin Yun very much. Brother A Yun, Star God, Suxin and Xian Qin are still below the lake. Don't we need them to participate? Luo Yaofeng asked. Her heart is not as big as Xian Rujing's, so she is very nervous now. Luo, what are you afraid of? Xiao Yun has already arranged everything, we just need to follow. Xian Rujing drank a mouthful of wine and said with smile, Relax 100%. Come, drink some wine to calm down. Chapter 3180. Luo Yaofeng drank a big mouthful of wine, her whole body is warm. She was originally a bit flustered but now she has calmed down. I don't need you to face powerful enemy. When the time comes, just do as I say. Qin Yun said. Luo Yaofeng and Xian Rujing know that Qin Yun needs them to cooperate with each other and release the strongest blizzard through the Heavenly Law Altar. Although they have become a lot stronger after coming out of the lake, it can be said that they have reached the highest level of divine space realm. But with their current strength, they are still powerless against Strange Cat Kingdom's fleet. They can release very strong blizzard, but they cannot resist Strange Cat Kingdom's fleet. Strange Cat Kingdom's battleships are very formidable, they can travel through many kinds of complicated environments in the universe, they are not afraid of trifling blizzard. Although they are doubtful, they did not ask anything because they believe in Qin Yun and know that he has already arranged everything. Inside Golden Claw Treasureland, all the soldiers entered the Heavenly Law altar. Not too far away from the Heavenly Tao altar was a huge golden lake. The lake itself had a very powerful defensive barrier. Later, Qin Yun added another barrier. With the barrier released by the Heavenly Tao altar, they formed several layers of defense. Bai Suxin and the others were very safe under the lake. Tian Dao Zi has already appeared on top of the altar. He is standing behind Qin Yun. Pippi and Shimen Dezhuang have not come out, they are hiding inside the Heavenly Law altar. The fleet has not arrived yet, they have slowed down. Moreover, they want to surround the entire Golden Claw treasure land. It will take some time. Qin Yun said, "Take advantage of this time to familiarize yourselves with each other. Xian Rujing and Luo Yaofeng will need to cooperate with the Heavenly Law altar to release even stronger blizzard. Tian Dao Zi will also need to cooperate with them. Golden Claw treasure land is very big. Strange Cat Kingdom's fleet will not attack from one direction, they will most likely surround the entire Golden Claw treasure land to prevent Qin Yun from escaping. Of course, Strange Cat Kingdom's fleet must first break through the defense of Golden Claw treasure land and let the Empire's 200,000 soldiers enter smoothly. Then the fleet will start setting up formation and surround the Golden Claw treasure land from several directions. Strange Cat King is on a relatively small battleship. This battleship looks very ordinary. Moreover, it is very high up in the sky, it has not entered the fleet. There were also battleships in the fleet that looked like main battleships, but Strange Cat King was not among them. Even now, Strange Cat King was still very cautious. He used a telescope to observe the entire Golden Claw treasured land from the sky. He discovered that only the altar of heaven and a medium-sized mountain were releasing energy fluctuations. The Heaven's Path altar was huge, so it was easy to notice it. Previously, it often absorbed the energy of heaven and earth, so it was very eye-catching. And the mountain beside the Heavenly Law altar is the Divine Inscription Mountain. This mountain has always been very mysterious. The warriors inside the Golden Claw treasure land didn't show themselves. They should be hiding inside the Grand Altar. It seems like the Golden Claw treasure land has been set up with all kinds of traps, waiting for the Imperial warriors to jump in. Exotic Cat King thought. For this battle, he appeared to be confident of winning, but in his heart, he was not confident. Empire's warriors, I will let you help test Qin Yun's strength. If you can, try to exhaust his energy as much as possible. That way, our chances of winning will be higher. Cat King thought to himself. The top of the Heavenly Law altar is covered with intense golden light. Qin Yun, Tian Dao Zi, Luo Yaofeng and Xian Rujing are all at the top of the altar. After some practice, Xian Rujing and Luo Yaofeng can cooperate very well with Tian Dao Zi. They can release extremely strong blizzard to cover the entire Golden Claw treasure land even faster. Everyone enter the altar. Qin Yun looked at the majestic fleet at the distance. He knows that the battle is about to begin. Everyone entered the altar and waited for the fleet to attack the barrier of the Golden Claw treasure land. The inside of the Golden Claw treasure land is very quiet. But outside, the air waves are surging violently. Battleships are coming from the sky in a grandiose manner. They are releasing burst after burst of air waves that are churning between heaven and earth. A large number of spies, as well as some big shots of powerful races and factions, are earnestly looking at the Golden Claw treasure land from the distance. This is the largest scale battle of the Empire's power inside Divine Desolate. 4 Empire's envoys are now filled with smiles. They believe that as long as the barrier is broken, the Empire's soldiers will immediately capture Qin Yun. Then they will be able to report back and obtain great rewards from the Crown Prince. Luo Yaya and Chu Limin are inside a small living room. They are already very familiar with each other. Moreover, their topic of conversation is mainly centered around Qin Yun. General Chu, how do you think Qin Yun will deal with the 200,000 Empire soldiers? Luo Yaya asked. According to my speculation, He will use the terrain of the Golden Claw Treasure Land. Moreover, the movement will be very big, otherwise he would not have moved everyone into the Heavenly Law Altar. What I am curious about is how he will defeat the strange cat fleet. Chu Limin said. I also can't figure it out no matter how much I think about it. Don't tell me he will rely on those few thousand arrows we made for him? Luoyaya said. She carefully studied those arrows. They are not very big. They are not like those Super 10,000 Devouring God arrows from before. Qin Yun used the Super 10,000 Devouring God arrows to shoot down the Scorpio battleship. Strange Cat King's battleship is much more powerful than the Scorpio Kingdom's battleship, so Qin Yun used even smaller arrows. Chu Limin can only shake her head. She also can't figure it out. What she can't understand the most is that Qin Yun actually doesn't plan to use those 50,000 Phoenix warriors. Bang! A muffled vibration sound echoed. Chu Limin and Luoyaya's heart trembled. This is obviously Strange Cat King's battleship attacking the Golden Claw Treasure Land. Outside the Golden Claw Treasure Land, several battleships simultaneously shot out light beams and attacked the barrier of the Golden Claw Treasure Land. With such an attack, the barrier of the Golden Claw Treasure Land was directly torn apart. However, it still has a very strong defense. The barrier that enveloped the Golden Claw Treasure Land was not destroyed. Boom, 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 after several attacks, the barrier of the Golden Claw Treasure Land was finally destroyed. Strange Cat King saw that the barrier was easily broken and immediately let out a long sigh. He is now even more certain that Qin Yun has already set up a trap. That is why he deliberately let the barrier break so quickly. Your Majesty, Strange Cat King, you just wait in the air. Leave the rest to our Empire's soldiers. An Empire's emissary sent a message to Strange Cat King through the magic mirror. At this time, a large number of soldiers appeared from all directions. They are all wearing black armor and holding black sabers. They are rushing into the Golden Claw Treasure Land like a tidal wave. The aura of divine cosmos power erupting from these soldiers is actually not weaker than those battleships. This kind of charging momentum is like countless giant beasts galloping. 200,000 formidable Empire's soldiers entered the Golden Claw Treasure Land in a few short moments and rushed towards the Heavenly Law Altar. Just as they approached the Heavenly Law Altar, a huge golden-black whirlpool suddenly appeared on the ground around the altar. The whirlpool produced a very dreadful devouring power. Apart from this, an extremely strong gravitational force suddenly came crashing down from the sky above the Golden Claw Treasure Land. The fleeing soldiers were smashed to the ground and fell into the golden-black whirlpool. In a short moment, 200,000 Empire's soldiers were swallowed by several huge golden-black whirlpools and disappeared without a trace. Chapter 3181. After the Imperial soldiers rushed into the Golden Claw treasure ground, they surrounded the heavens altar from all directions. Although the appearance of the golden-black vortex was very sudden, the Imperial soldiers were able to react immediately and jumped into the air. They did not expect such a strong gravitational force to suddenly crash down. The supergravity was released by Qin Yun through the Heavenly Tao altar. Although it was only for a few short seconds, it was enough to catch the Imperial soldiers off guard. All of them fell to the ground and were devoured by the golden-black vortex. These days, Qin Yun frequently went underground to modify the Golden Claw Treasure Land's giant divine universe goldstone. He combined it with runes from the Bloodline Heavenly Rune Box as well as Nether Sun Totem runes to set up the trap formation. Although this sort of trap array was powerful, it also consumed a great deal of energy. It would damage the Divine Universe Goldstone beneath the Golden Claw Treasure Land. Fortunately, the Divine Universe Goldstones beneath the Treasure Land were extremely large. Although they were damaged, it only caused the total energy of the Golden Claw Treasure Land to decrease. The Golden Claw Treasure Land is only Qin Yun's temporary base, so it doesn't matter if it is used up. He still has a few other treasure lands. This kind of trap array was laid out at a great price. Moreover, it could only be laid out on a treasured land. Qin Yun was very satisfied with the results that were displayed. The Empire's 200,000 warriors were devoured in the blink of an eye, and when they entered the trap, they were burned by the bloodline heavenly pattern flame. Qin Yun added a formation related to the bloodline heavenly rune flame to the devouring trap formation. It can absorb the divine universe goldstones under the treasure land and release an extremely powerful bloodline heavenly rune flame. Now, he was only worried that these flames were too strong and would burn away the divine universe heavenly bone in the bodies of the imperial soldiers. Every time they saw this kind of terrifying inscription formation, those spies and the big shots of the various powers would remember that Qin Yun is a super strong inscription master. Qin Yun's inscription level is still unknown. They only know that the formidable power he has displayed so far is either through inscription or bloodline heavenly rune. Chu Limin and Luoya know that Qin Yun has been entering the Golden Claw treasure land for the past few days to make arrangements. They are very clear that the Golden Claw treasure land definitely has a powerful trap formation. However, they did not expect it to be this dreadful. They have long known that Qin Yun's usage of runes has reached the acme of perfection. It is a godly realm. However, he never expected that Qin Yun would be so terrifying when he used the power of runes to kill people. Exotic Cat King was also startled. He had long since determined that Qin Yun had set up a trap, but in his expectation, Qin Yun's trap formation would consume a lot of resources or weapons. However, even if he saw Qin Yun's trap formation with his own eyes, he still didn't know what it was. This caused him to be filled with fear towards the Golden Claw treasure land. God knows what other terrifying things were waiting for him. Strange Cat King's heart was filled with mixed feelings. The Empire's 200,000 soldiers were gone in an instant. He was indeed very happy. He originally hoped that these 200,000 soldiers could consume Qin Yun's strength, but now they didn't consume much of Qin Yun's strength. This made him very disappointed. Next, his exotic cat fleet would attack. Seeing that Qin Yun had defeated so many imperial soldiers, he felt even more uncertain. The emissaries of the four great empires all felt a chill run down their spines. These imperial warriors were very powerful. Although there were still many of them in the empire, the number that the crown princes could mobilize was very limited. And now, so many of them had died in an instant. This was a huge blow to the crown princes. If the loss of these soldiers could be exchanged for a good harvest, then it would still be reasonable. After the shock, these empire emissaries crazily cursed Qin Yun in their hearts. They immediately contacted Strange Cat King. Now, they could only pin their hopes on him. If Strange Cat King attacked the Golden Claw treasure land and captured Qin Yun, as long as Qin Yun was handed over to the four crown princes, it could be considered as a harvest. Strange Cat King received the message sent by the Empire emissaries. He secretly sneered in his heart and ignored them. He clearly remembered how these Empire emissaries scolded him before. The other spies all thought that these were 200,000 cat-ear people warriors. They didn't know that they were imperial soldiers. Otherwise, they would be even more shocked. The emissaries of the four great empires didn't get a reply from Strange Cat King. They all cursed him, but there was nothing they could do. At this moment, they all needed Strange Cat King's help. If Strange Cat King captured Qin Yun himself, even if he didn't hand over Qin Yun, the emissaries wouldn't be able to do anything to him. Strange Cat King looked at the lonely and incomparably huge Heavenly Law altar in the Golden Claw treasure land from high up in the sky. The fear in his heart grew deeper and deeper. He was very clear that Qin Yun must have prepared everything and was waiting for him to go over. But now, he had no more hesitation. Before he came here, he had already prepared for the worst. He wasn't afraid of failure. At most, he would lose a part of his power to settle things with Qin Yun. Qin Yun, let's settle this. Strange Cat King shouted in his heart. Then, Xia Tian ordered the 2,000 huge and old transport battleships to approach the Golden Claw treasure land. He wanted these old battleships to go over and test Qin Yun's trap formation and all kinds of weapons. After the old battleships approached, they immediately condensed energy and crazily bombarded the Heavenly Law altar in the middle of the Golden Claw treasure land. However, those bursts of energy were suddenly blocked by the spirit formation that had erupted from the Golden Claw treasured land. At this moment, the Golden Claw treasure land seemed to be wrapped in a golden light barrier. The light barrier slowly rotated like a strange whirlpool, drawing the energy waves from the barrier and causing it to rotate along with the barrier. The attack of the old battleships wasn't weak. The sudden attack of 2,000 battleships was unexpectedly unable to break the barrier of the Golden Claw treasure land. The envoys of the 4 great empires almost vomited blood seeing this scene. Because the barrier of the Golden Claw treasure land was deliberately closed in order to lure the warriors inside and slaughter them. Those empires and kingdoms all know that after Qin Yun killed the warriors, he would not have any misgivings and would directly take the Divine Universe Heavenly Bone. Therefore, they hoarded a large amount of Divine Universe Heavenly Bone as equipment material. Those envoys felt bitter and hateful. If they knew this, they would not have rushed in. They all believed that the trap was originally prepared for the Cat Ear warriors. However, their empire was too impatient and careless, resulting in the death of 200,000 imperial warriors. Chu Limin and Luo Yaya provided detailed information to Qin Yun before. Most of the battleships sent by Strange Cat King are old transport battleships. As the most advanced main battleships, they are at a distance. With one look, it is clear that they are waiting for an opportunity to attack and deal a fatal blow to the Golden Claw treasure land. Strange Cat King, let's settle this. I will make you despair. Completely give up on resisting me. Qin Yun immediately left the Heavenly Law altar and entered the Divine Mountain. Moreover, he told Tian Daozi, Xian Rujing and Luo Yaofeng to prepare. Chapter 3182. Golden Claw Treasure Land's defense is inconceivably strong. Those kingdoms and empires have been in God desolate for some time now. They know a lot about the barrier of these treasure land. Moreover, they are very sure that these barrier can be broken. No matter how strong the barrier is, as long as there is enough energy, it can be broken. At most it is only a matter of time. The strength of Golden Claw Treasure Land's barrier caused many scouts to be very surprised. They are now transmitting the situation of the battle to their masters. Those who can use Devil Mirror can see the whole process of Golden Claw Treasure Land being attacked by those huge battleships. Everyone can see that the Heavenly Tao altar inside Golden Claw Treasure Land is now releasing very strong light rays. The reason why Golden Claw Treasure Land's barrier is so strong is most likely because it has been strengthened by the Heavenly Tao altar. However, those battleships are not weak. It must be known that these battleships have little Divine Sun cores inside them. After being condensed and strengthened by formation, their might is also very formidable. No matter how strong the energy released by the Heavenly Tao altar and Golden Claw Treasure Land is, it should not be able to resist the attack of so many battleships. Only those who are proficient in inscription formation can roughly understand why Golden Claw Treasure Land's defense is so formidable. Because Golden Claw Treasure Land's barrier did not directly block the bombardment of formidable energy. Instead, it formed a very ingenious barrier that revolved around the outside of the barrier. After the berserk energy entered the barrier, it was distorted and dissolved. Then it revolved and was finally devoured. To achieve this, one must have formidable nether sun power. Extremely strong energy is simply unable to directly hit the nether sun. As long as it gets close to the nether sun, it will be distorted and dissolved into the purest energy and finally devoured by the nether sun. Indeed, there is a nether sun at the bottom of Golden Claw Treasure Land, That is, right below the heavenly Tao altar. That nether sun is released by Qin Yun. He cultivated nether sun for many years. It can be used together with Golden Claw Treasure Land's barrier and heavenly Tao altar. This is also the reason why it suddenly erupted with extremely strong gravity and caused a large group of Empire's soldiers to fall down. Qin Yun's nether sun is absorbing energy from Golden Claw Treasure Land. Under Ling Yun Er's control, it is now very violent. Fortunately, the heavenly Tao altar can suppress the nether sun, otherwise it would be very dangerous. Nether sun is frantically devouring energy, refining it and pouring it into the barrier to make it even stronger. Strange Cat King didn't order the 800 main battleships to attack. Instead, he ordered the old transport battleships to continue attacking the barrier of the Golden Claw Treasure Land. Those transport ships and the cat-eared people inside were originally going to be abandoned in Strange Cat's plan. Strange Cat King never expected the transport battleship to be able to defeat the Golden Claw Treasure Land. From the very beginning, he planned to sacrifice the transport battleship to consume Qin Yun's terrifying super god devouring arrow. As expected of the Divine King of Divine Wilderness, his usage of the nether sun has already reached an extremely high level. There are not many people who can cultivate the nether sun inside their body. Even if there are, most of them would not be able to control the nether sun and die from the backlash. Not only can Qin Yun cultivate to this stage, he can also make the nether sun become the core of the formation. Strange Cat King looked at the slowly rotating field of the Golden Claw Treasure Land. The previous rounds of fierce attacks were all swallowed by the Golden Claw Treasure Land. However, he firmly believes that as long as they continue to attack with this intensity, the barrier of the Golden Claw Treasure Land will not be able to withstand it. Once the barrier of the Golden Claw Treasure Land is broken, it will be the time for his 800 battleships to display their strength and defeat the Heavenly Law altar in one fell swoop. Qin Yun entered the Divine Inscription Mountain. He released his Heavenly Eye avatar and can clearly see the main fleet of Strange Cat Kingdom. They have been holding back their troops and waiting for the Golden Claw Treasure Land to be breached before attacking. Strange Cat King, I know that you plan to sacrifice those old battleships to break the barrier of the Golden Claw Treasure Land and consume my weapons. However, you are wrong. The barrier of the Golden Claw Treasure Land is very difficult to break, and I will not sit still and wait for death. Qin Yun has already seen through Strange Cat King's plan. Old Mountain, get ready! Qin Yun shouted. Yes. Mountain God immediately controlled the Divine Inscription Mountain to change its shape. The Divine Inscription Mountain became smaller and shined with golden light. At the same time, it began to change shape. It became like a top and it is spinning very fast. After becoming smaller, it can more easily rush out of the barrier of the Divine Inscription Mountain. The Divine Inscription Mountain is now like a small mountain in the shape of a top. Moreover, its spinning speed is very fast and it can even fly in the air. The sudden attack of the Divine Inscription Mountain caused many people to be surprised, especially Strange Cat King. He did not expect that Qin Yun would use this kind of method to attack. Although he is surprised, he did not panic. He immediately aimed the battleship at the Divine Inscription Mountain and gave the order to attack. However, the Divine Inscription Mountain also has the Nether Sun force field. The energy rushing towards the Divine Inscription Mountain will be distorted and scattered by the barrier outside the Divine Inscription Mountain. Then it will attract the scattered energy and revolve around the Divine Inscription Mountain. At the same time, the energy will be absorbed into the Divine Inscription Mountain. One must know that Qin Yun's 9 Sun Divine Spirit also has a Nether Sunday. That Nether Sun has grown very big. It is even stronger than the one Qin Yun cultivates. The crazy spinning top flew in the air and rushed towards the 800 battleship. As it flew over, many old giant transport ships flew over to block it. However, the divine inscription mountain is very agile. Even if it was hit by the transport ship, the spinning top would immediately bounce back and then continue to rush towards the main fleet. Strange Cat King is hiding on the battleship at the highest altitude. From a screen in the main control room, he can clearly see everything that is happening below. He looked at the crazy spinning top and has a very bad premonition. It is impossible for him to have a large number of giant arrows. Even if he does, he will not be able to destroy our main battleship. Our main battleships are not as broken as the Scorpio Kingdom's. Strange Cat King coldly snorted and ordered the main battleships to prepare for defense. That kind of main battleship, even if it was pierced by a giant arrow and exploded, it would not immediately be torn apart. The energy core inside the main battleship is very well protected. It is not as fragile as those old battleships. The divine inscription mountain quickly rushed into the main battleship. As it rotated crazily, Qin Yun ordered to open the dragon head cannon and shoot the small myriad devouring god arrows. The small myriad devouring god arrows are also several meters long, some are even more than 10 meters long. This kind of arrow is very weak compared to the 200 to 300 meter long main battleship. It has to be said that this kind of small myriad devouring god arrows' penetrating power is very terrifying. It can pierce into the main battleship. And some main battleships' defense is very strong, they can resist this kind of myriad devouring god arrow. Among the scattered main battleship, a total of several hundred were pierced by the myriad devouring god arrow. The myriad devouring god arrow only pierced into the battleship. It did not explode and the battleship did not fall. Bloodline poisonous insects, the rest is up to you. Qin Yun let the mountain god control the divine inscription mountain to return. Originally those small myriad devouring god arrows were injected with a large number of bloodline poisonous insects. Chapter 3183. Qin Yun has improved and bred many bloodline poisonous insects. These insects are specifically targeted at the cat ear people. At first, they only eat their flesh, but they have very strong evolution ability and can evolve to the point where they can devour any human. Therefore, Qin Yun rarely uses them on a large scale because he is worried that they will go out of control. After many experiments, he finally found a very safe and reliable method to prevent the bloodline poisonous insects from going out of control. Qin Yun used a large amount of Divine Universe golden stones to nurture the bloodline poisonous insects, as well as a large amount of bloodline heavenly rune fire. Therefore, the bloodline poisonous insects can burst out with very hot energy, they can even destroy the runes on the armor. Even those powerful cat ear people soldiers wearing very strong armor will find it very difficult to resist the invasion of the bloodline poisonous insects. There are a total of 800 battleships. Now nearly 500 advanced battleships have been shot by the myriad god devouring arrows. After the myriad god devouring arrows enter the battleships, the storage magic tools inside the arrows will explode and release a large amount of bloodline poisonous insects. The poisonous insects inside the battleships will frantically search for the cat ear people and determine their location based on their aura. After finding the cat ear people, they will crazily rush over and devour their flesh and blood. After the divine inscription mountain flew out, it immediately returned to the Golden Claw treasure land. This caused many people to be dumbfounded. The divine inscription mountain's attack looks very beautiful, it very smoothly entered the battleships. Moreover, it also released a large amount of myriad god devouring arrows and hit several hundred battleships. However, these myriad god devouring arrows are too small. Although they exploded inside the battleships, they didn't cause any fatal damage. Those battleships are still floating in the air. It seems like nothing happened. Strange Cat King was scared miserably just now. His expression is very unsightly, and he is panicking to death. However, when he saw the divine inscription mountain shoot out many small divine arrows, He suddenly felt relieved. These myriad god-devouring arrows are only a few meters long, they are indeed unable to injure those battleships. Strange Cat King is still worried. He immediately used the magic mirror to contact the captains of those battleships and ask them about the situation. Those captains immediately reported that the battleships are fine, their combat power is not affected. It can be said that all aspects are intact, only a hole has been pierced through them. Strange Cat King frowned again and again. He ordered those captains to immediately check the divine arrows that hit the battleships. He feels that something is wrong. He knows Qin Yun very well. He knows that Qin Yun would never do such a meaningless thing. Those captains immediately sent people to check, but the captains did not receive any response. When Strange Cat learned of the situation, he knew that something was wrong. He hurriedly shouted, "All the warships hit by the arrow, abandon the ship, now." Abandon ship? Why? All the captains were dumbfounded. "Hurry up, this is an order." Cat King shouted frantically at the magic mirror. The captains were very obedient, immediately abandoning their ships and leaving their ships as fast as they could. At this moment, Exotic Cat King ordered the transport ship to stop attacking the Golden Claw treasure land to avoid consuming too much energy. From the looks of it, the defense of the Golden Claw treasure land was very strong, so there was no point in continuing to attack. Both Luo Yeya and Chu Limin were baffled. The 10,000 god-devouring arrows that Qin Yun shot out were made by the craftsmen they found. They also know that after Qin Yun added runes to the arrows, they can pierce through battleship. But those arrows were too small. Even if they could penetrate the warship and explode, it would be useless. The spies and envoys of the four empires who were watching the battle from afar had no idea what Qin Yun and Exotic Cat King were doing. Qin Yun's arrows are very powerful, but they are not big enough to destroy the advanced battleships of Exotic Cat Kingdom. So Exotic Cat Kingdom should not be worried. But now, a large group of cat ear people suddenly ran out of the battleship. Those kingdoms and empires who have good information on Exotic Cat Kingdom can see that the cat ear people who ran out of the battleships are not of low status, they are all captains and so on. Several hundred captains suddenly ran out of the battleships. This is equivalent to abandoning the battleships, it is a death sentence. However, not many cat ear people were able to escape from the battleships, only a few dozen of them. Other cat ear people were in different positions inside the battleships. When they tried to escape, they were already devoured by the bloodline poison bug. More than 400 battleships are now filled with a large number of bloodline poison bug. What happened? Why are there only a few of you running out? Quickly run, quickly run. You are now very obvious targets, don't let them kill you. Cat King shouted loudly, he is now very anxious. Your Majesty, a very dreadful thing appeared inside the battleships. It is like a small flying insect, it can easily break the armor and enter the body. After being drilled into the body by these flying insects, the flesh and blood will instantly disappear, leaving only the bones. Those flying insects are crazily devouring our warriors. After devouring, they immediately split into a large number. Your Majesty, our battleships are finished, we can't go in anymore, we will die, we will die. Your Majesty, what should we do? Those insects are too dreadful, if they fly out, they will kill us. The captains who escaped are still running. At the same time they are reporting the situation to Cat King. Cat King's scalp went numb. Hundreds of battleships are finished just like that. He looked at the Golden Claw treasure land from the sky, took a deep breath and said, Qin Yun, you win. All battleships retreat, we have lost. He used the magic mirror to transmit the message to all the captains of the battleships. Just as the battleships were about to fly away, the divine inscription mountain flew out again. At the same time, a strong light suddenly shot out from the sky. This is Cat King's battleship. Although it is small, it is very fast. In a short while it arrived in front of the divine inscription mountain. Our exotic cat kingdom admits defeat. From now on, exotic cat kingdom will abide by the law and order. We will never provoke the divine king's authority. Cat King's voice came out. It seems like it is transmitted through some kind of tool. His voice is very loud and spread in all directions. After everyone heard this, they are completely dumbfounded. Exotic Cat Kingdom's fleet has arrived in a grandiose manner. Their main battleships have not even attacked yet, they have already admitted defeat. Also, what happened just now? Why did hundreds of captains abandon their battleships? You are the defeated side, you will have to pay the price. Qin Yun said. We will certainly give you satisfactory compensation. I ask your Majesty Divine King to first deal with the potential crisis. Cat King is truly terrified. He is mainly afraid of those bloodline poisonous insects, because Qin Yun used something similar to this to exterminate exotic Cat King City. Cat King already knew about it, but he was not clear about the specific situation. Now it seems that Qin Yun has mastered very dreadful poisonous insects. Moreover, they are mainly targeting their cat ear people's bloodline, otherwise Qin Yun would have used them to deal with Scorpio people. This is something that can completely restrain their cat ear people. It is like a natural disaster. If they continue to use it on their cat ear people, it will certainly lead to the destruction of their kingdom. Qin Yun sent a signal to Xian Rujing and Luo Yaofeng, telling them to release Blizzard. Chapter 3184. Xian Rujing and Luo Yaofeng are on top of the Heavenly Law altar. They quickly released a super strong blizzard and enveloped hundreds of battleships hovering in the sky. Other battleships quickly retreated. Only 460 battleships remained. They are now covered by the bone-chilling blizzard. Those scouts immediately realized that Qin Yun has mastered some super strong thing that caused the battleships to change and quickly kill those cat-eared people. Soon after, they all thought of viruses. When humans were very weak, a sudden outbreak of viruses could kill a large number of humans and living beings. Later on, for a very long time, humans mastered the power to resist viruses. And now, even though humans have become very strong, viruses are still one of nature's living beings. Naturally, they will become stronger according to the environment. As long as one can master this thing and use it, they can erupt with very strong might. Especially this kind of virus that can quickly spread and quickly become fatal, it is the most dreadful. Qin Yun let Luo Yaofeng and Xian Rujing release the super strong blizzard to freeze those hundreds of battleships. In order to quickly suppress the bloodline venomous insect, Qin Yun thought of many methods and tried many techniques. Finally, he discovered that the bloodline venomous insect was afraid of the cold. However, just the cold was not enough to kill the bloodline venomous insect. It could only trap it. Bloodline poison bug needs energy. If they can't devour flesh and blood, they will frantically search everywhere for energy. Poisonous bugs are afraid of cold but not afraid of heat. Therefore, when they are trapped inside the battleships, they will go to the energy core of the battleships, which is the inner core of the little divine Sunday. Poisonous bugs are not afraid of heat, so they are not scared off by strong heat. Sensing the heat source, they will frantically rush over like flies to a flame and finally enter the little divine sun's inner core to commit suicide. Seeing the appearance of the super blizzard, Cat King Strange was also quickly thinking about how to resist the poisonous insect. Qin Yun is naturally not afraid of being seen through by Strange Cat King because the bloodline poison bug is very changeable. It is very difficult to resist them all the time. Moreover, Strange Cat King and others cannot come in contact with the bloodline poison bug. They have never seen this kind of poisonous bug before. They are unable to research a method to resist it. Strange Cat King has thoroughly admitted defeat. If he did not admit defeat, Qin Yun would have attacked all their battleships with those poisonous bugs. The consequences would be too horrible to contemplate. Actually, Qin Yun did not expect that Strange Cat King would so decisively admit defeat. The envoys of the four empires no longer dared to look down on Qin Yun. nor did they dare to look down on Exotic Cat King. Although Exotic Cat King lost, the reason why he fought this battle was mainly to make an end, indicating that he had probably expected such an outcome before. He clearly knew that he might lose, but he still wanted to fight. Moreover, he also agreed to the conditions of the four empires. Therefore, the emissaries could now see that Strange Cat King might have secretly cheated them and did not tell them the details about Qin Yun. Strange Cat King flew out of his battleship. He was a middle-aged man with a pair of black cat ears. He should have been very burly and domineering, but because of his pair of cat ears, his momentum had dropped a lot. He flew out with the two generals towards the Divine Inscription Mountain. With Monkey King, Su Xiaoba, as well as Ba Taiyin and other big brothers, Strange Cat King won't be able to injure Qin Yun at all. At this moment, Luo Yaya and Chu Limin came out of the Golden Claw Treasure Land and arrived at the Divine Inscription Mountain. Strange Cat Kingdom was defeated because they started the war against Qin Yun. Now that they have been defeated, they must compensate, otherwise Qin Yun will continue to chase after them. Qin Yun is very clear that it will be very difficult to completely exterminate Strange Cat Kingdom. After all, they are formidable humans from Middle Heaven Earth. Now that they can defeat the king of Strange Cat Kingdom, it is the best ending. Strange Cat King, you must sign a soul contract, you must never resist me, you must not commit crimes in the Divine Desolate. Qin Yun said. Fine. Strange Cat King directly agreed. Soon after, Qin Yun made many detailed rules and let Strange Cat King sign the soul contract. If all the cat ear people of Strange Cat Kingdom commit crimes in the Divine Desolate, Strange Cat Kingdom must publicly execute them. Not only that, Qin Yun also wants Strange Cat Kingdom to bear the responsibility of maintaining order in the Divine Desolate. In other words, Strange Cat Kingdom might have to fight against those empires and kingdoms with Qin Yun in the future. Strange Cat Kingdom was defeated, so Strange Cat King can only agree. However, he has conditions to resist the empires and kingdoms. He needs Qin Yun to provide him with protection. If Qin Yun is unable to protect Strange Cat Kingdom, then Strange Cat Kingdom will temporarily not fulfill this condition. As for the compensation for defeat, Qin Yun will give 3 trillion Divine Universe Goldstones every year for 10 years. Qin Yun seized the 460 warships, and they are considered spoils of war, so Strange Cat King did not mention this matter. In addition, Qin Yun also gave Strange Cat King a blueprint, asking Strange Cat Kingdom to help him forge the Super 10,000 Devouring God arrows, which are dozens of meters long. He wants a total of 3,000, and Strange Cat Kingdom will be responsible for the materials. Strange Cat King can only agree without any complaints. Strange Cat Kingdom can forge so many warships, the level of craftsmen must be very good. Qin Yun asked for a compensation that is neither too much nor too little, and Strange Cat Kingdom can afford it, so they readily agreed. Qin Yun accepted the 3 trillion Divine Universe Goldstones from Strange Cat King and will continue to do so next year. Although Strange Cat King lost this time, it made him realize how terrifying the godly kings of the Divine Desolate are. He is also relieved to be able to bring up the rear with this godly king. The news that Strange Cat Kingdom was defeated and signed many treaties with Qin Yun quickly spread throughout the Divine Desolate. The big shots of the kingdoms and empires in the Nine Suns Sacred Ground quickly received the news. Qin Yun actually defeated a mid-level heavenly Earth kingdom, and he did not use much manpower. The most puzzling thing is that Strange Cat King did not mobilize all his fleets, so why did he admit defeat? It looks like he was completely beaten to his knees. Only Strange Cat King himself knows very well that if he mobilized all his fleets, the end result would be the destruction of his kingdom. Qin Yun's mysterious bloodline poisonous insects have completely intimidated Strange Cat King. No one in Strange Cat Kingdom said anything because the captains and others who escaped knew that they were completely defeated. They could not fight against Qin Yun's mysterious bloodline poisonous insect. They are all very grateful to their king. If Strange Cat King did not make a prompt decision to let them abandon their ships, they might all die. After Strange Cat Kingdom admitted defeat, many treasure lands outside the Nine Sun Sacred Ground and some weak strong races sent envoys to the Golden Claw Treasure Land. Those weak races control relatively small treasure lands, so they can easily be used as training grounds by foreign kingdoms and empires, or used by powerful armies to flatten them. They need protection, and now only Qin Yun, a godly king, has such power and dares to fight against any powerful forces. For this, these powerful races are willing to offer a certain amount of divine universe goldstones to Qin Yun. Apart from those powerful races who sent envoys to the Golden Claw Treasure Land, Princess Luo Shu and Phoenix Queen are preparing to go to the Golden Claw Treasure Land to discuss with Qin Yun how to fight for the primordial era ruins controlled by the Crown Prince of Deluo. Chapter 3185. Qin Yun still has to be vigilant for the next period of time. The four empires are managed by the crown princes. Although they can't mobilize powerful armies, they can still mobilize some kingdoms to harass the Golden Claw Treasure Land. It depends on whether or not these kingdoms are willing to pay the price. After all, Scorpio Kingdom and Exotic Cat Kingdom are not willing to continue being enemies with Qin Yun. Exotic Cat Kingdom was completely defeated and Scorpio Kingdom stopped in time. Now, Scorpio Kingdom is very glad that they didn't continue fighting with Qin Yun, otherwise their ending would be the same as Exotic Cat Kingdom. However, Qin Yun still remembers the debt of Scorpio Kingdom because it was Scorpio Kingdom who came to attack Golden Claw Treasure Land. Qin Yun will not rest until Scorpio Kingdom kneels. Moreover, just defeating Exotic Cat Kingdom is not enough to establish his might. He still has to conquer another kingdom. Although Divine Desolate is amazed by Qin Yun's terrifying power, they are also questioning Qin Yun's subsequent strength. Many people suspect that Qin Yun consumed a large amount of resources and could only destroy Exotic Cat Kingdom. His vitality is greatly damaged and he can no longer fight against other kingdoms. Of course, this is only a suspicion. No kingdom is so stubborn as to test it. Qin Yun began to count the spoils of war. Exotic Cat King is very tactful. Not only did he not take back the 460 destroyed battleships, he also left 40 battleships for Qin Yun. Qin Yun really needs battleships now. Although he doesn't have that many experienced soldiers on the battleships, as long as he has battleships, he can quickly train his soldiers to be familiar with battleship. After obtaining the battleships, Qin Yun will first modify them and add some powerful cannonballs or cannons. Exotic Cat Kingdom's battleships mainly attack by condensing energy. Although the explosive energy is very strong, it is still energy and can be easily dissipated. They use material weapons like cannons and cannonballs. They are all made from Divine Universe heavenly bones and have very strong characteristics. They won't be easily dissipated. By adding all kinds of runes on these things, they can break through barriers and have super strong penetrating power. Qin Yun handed over the battleship modification to the Inscription Gates Inscription Masters and Nine Yang Temple's Inscription Palace. For many years, Nine Yang Temple and Inscription God Mountain have absorbed a large number of outstanding inscription masters. The main reason is that Qin Yun left behind many inscription inheritances. They are very attractive to inscription masters. Everyone wants to learn the most profound runes, especially those genius inscription masters. In this battle, Qin Yun obtained a great deal of Divine Universe heavenly bones. There were close to 5 million kilograms of them, and they were all of the best quality. He had obtained many Divine Universe heavenly bones, and they were quickly used up. This was because he needed to forge all sorts of equipment and weapons. On the Heavenly Law altar, Xian Rujing is thawing those battleships and absorbing the ice on them. Monkey King, Su Xiaoba and the others became very excited seeing the large number of warship. With their status, they will definitely be able to become warship captains. The feeling of owning such a warship was indeed not bad, especially when he could control the warship to burst out with energy and kill a large number of enemies. Tian Daozi looked at the battleships in the Golden Claw treasured land and said, Master God King, I discovered that in this era, individual strength is not very useful. Xie Wufeng also nodded and said, It's hard to annihilate such a super strong army with individual strength. Only Brother Yun can set up a trap array that can kill a large number of the Empire's soldiers. But that's only if the conditions permit. Indeed, I knew that the Empire's soldiers would attack the Golden Claw treasured land in advance. That's why I set up the trap array ahead of time. Otherwise, I would not be able to annihilate that kind of army with my own strength. Qin Yun sighed and said, The era has changed, but this is a good thing. In the past, if a person was strong enough, he could kill a large number of people with a flip of his hand. The current divine wilderness could reach the 9th level of the divine space realm as long as one wasn't too lazy or too weak. Even if a person's divine universe power is very strong, there is a limit. At most, they can fight several hundred, several thousand, even more than 10,000. But to fight several 10,000 or 100,000 is very difficult, they will be exhausted to death. The use of an individual's strength is to intimidate the big shots of a faction. For example, when two kings meet and want to fight, the effect of an individual's strength will be very obvious. Or it can intimidate their subordinates and make them submit to their formidable strength. If two great factions start a war, it depends on the overall strength of both sides, as well as all kinds of tactics. From Qin Yun's point of view, craftsmen are very important. Because in this era, all kinds of weapons have become very important. Sometimes in a war, soldiers don't even need to fight to the death. They can hide under the armor and control the weapons. Divine Desolate's nature is evolving too fast. Even peak Divine Universe realm experts like us are unable to cause the earth to crack when we fight. Wanting to flatten a mountain won't be that easy. Xie Wufeng said. After nature evolves to a certain extent, under the power of nature, life will appear incomparably small. Now, nature's power is still unable to threaten life, but in the future, it is hard to say. For example, all kinds of thunder and lightning, fire and ice produced by nature are simply unable to harm powerful humans. In the past, if one was struck by thunder and lightning, even if they didn't die, they would be seriously injured. Along with the continuous evolution of nature in Divine Desolate, the matter of people being struck by thunder and lightning to death will definitely repeat itself. This might be a cycle of reincarnation. Life was once lawless and out of control, contending against heavenly Tao law, even powerful enough to seal magic spirit. Now it has finally returned to the past. Tian Daozi said with emotion, As long as we wait for the 90,000 world divine sun to come into being, the greatest enemy of Divine Desolate's living beings will be the power of nature. Princess Luo Shu and Phoenix Queen arrived very quickly. They arrived at the Golden Claw treasure land through the teleportation formation and were already brought to the 9-sun heaven-raising pagoda by Luo Yea and Chu Limin. Yushang Yun also came, she came with Phoenix Queen. Qin Yun immediately went down from the heavenly Tao altar to meet the two female leaders. He entered the first floor of the 9-sun heaven-raising pagoda and saw Phoenix Queen and Princess Luo Shu. Although this is the first time he saw these two women, he could immediately tell who is who. Phoenix Queen and Princess Luo Shu are both wearing white clothes. Their attire is also very simple, their hair is tied up and they are wearing light clothes. Both of them are naturally very beautiful. Even the outline of their faces is somewhat similar, especially their eyes, it is as if they are two sisters. Chu Limin and Princess Luo Shu are sisters with the same father but different mothers. However, Chu Limin and Princess Luo Shu are not that similar. Qin Yun is very puzzled as to why Princess Luo Shu is so similar to Phoenix Queen. Chapter 3186. The relationship between Phoenix Queen and the Celestial Emperor is very mysterious. Some people guessed that Phoenix Queen is the Celestial Emperor's younger sister or his woman. Qin Yun now feels that Phoenix Queen and the Celestial Emperor should be related by blood. Under normal circumstances, Phoenix Queen and Princess Luo Shu would not reveal their appearance and would always appear with masks. They are not wearing masks right now, indicating that they attach great importance to meeting Qin Yun. They are very beautiful, but in Qin Yun's opinion, they are not as beautiful as Yu Shangyun because Yu Shangyun has a unique temperament. That temperament is very similar to the Nine Sun Divine Maiden, but also not. Luo Yaofeng and Xie Qiru both have that temperament, as if they were once goddesses of the nine heavens. After Qin Yun entered, he only glanced at the two strong women a few more times before greeting them with a smile, as if they are old friends that he has not seen for many years. Princess Luo Shu and Phoenix Queen have different temperaments at first glance, but they are also very similar. Phoenix Queen's tyrannical aura is a bit stronger. Princess Luo Shu also has a tyrannical aura, but it is tyrannical with a hint of gentleness. This is something Phoenix Queen does not have. The two women's eyes are very similar. They are both very beautiful, but Phoenix Queen's eyes are more sharp and full of majesty, while Princess Luo Shu has a bit of arrogance. They both have the same temperament, it is cold and aloof. This kind of woman most likely do not have lust, and will use any means to achieve their goals. Phoenix Queen is slightly taller. The reason why Qin Yun can recognize her at a glance is mainly because she has a phoenix totem aura on her body. This is very easy to recognize. Your Majesty, Your Highness, thank you very much for your help this time. If not for your support, we would not have won so easily. Qin Yun hurriedly thanked them. Your Excellency Divine King, no need to be polite. Since my Phoenix Kingdom has allied with you, we will definitely do our best to help. Phoenix Queen said, Your Excellency Divine King, I am not some Princess Luo Shu right now. I am supporting you in my own name, not in Princess Luo Shu's name. I heard from Yaya that you want to help me ascend the throne and become the Celestial Emperor of Great Luo, but I have no such intention. Phoenix Queen glanced at Princess Luo Shu and said, There is indeed no need. If you want to become the new Celestial Emperor of Great Luo, you have to slaughter him from top to bottom. With this kind of power, you might as well create your own empire. It's just a thought. Qin Yun said with a smile. I wonder what plans Miss Luo Shu has. I want to establish a kingdom, and I need your Excellency's support. Princess Luo Shu said. That's fine, no problem at all. Qin Yun readily agreed. As long as he maintained order, it would not be a problem to establish as many kingdoms as he wanted. The Phoenix Queen and Luo Shu didn't communicate much, and it was impossible to tell how their relationship was from their eyes. Yu Shangyun said, The three of us have formed an alliance, and we have a common enemy. Are we really going to fight the Crown Prince of Daluo? Luo Shu and the Phoenix Queen had come this time mainly because of this matter. They had been screwed over by the Taisher organizations. Ignoring their losses, they had even given their share to the Crown Prince of Daluo. I know where the Primordial Era's ruins are. However, that place will definitely be filled with danger. There will definitely be 3 Grand Prime organizations guarding it. Coupled with the Crown Prince's massive army, taking it down won't be easy. Luo Shu said. It's impossible to send people to investigate this place. The Phoenix Queen said, If we want to seize that Primordial Era's ruins, we can only gather our strongest power and attack it in one go. We must attack it no matter the cost. Her plan was very simple, just recklessly attack and it would be over. Luo Shu shook her head and said, No, even if we don't care about the cost, we might not be able to take it down. At that time, we will suffer heavy losses. The Phoenix Queen said, "When I say no matter the cost, it means that my Phoenix Kingdom will send out all of its combat power, including me. We will all go to war and fight to the end with the Crown Prince of Daluo and those bullshit Taisher powers. Sister Shu, if we don't do this, how do you think we can take down that primordial era's ruins?" The Phoenix Queen asked. She called Luo Shu Little Sister Shu. Could it be that she was an elder sister? However, the Phoenix Queen seemed to be much older than Luo Shu. Luo Shu looked at Qin Yun and said, "Your Excellency, my strength is limited and the method that Sister Phoenix mentioned is too stupid. Do you have any good ideas? You too, I believe you know how I defeated the strange cat kingdom, right?" Qin Yun said, "In this era, war is not about numbers or individual strength, but equipment and weapons. Of course, individual strength also needs to be sufficient." The Phoenix Queen and Luo Shu both expressed their agreement. The 10,000 god-devouring arrows Qin Yun used were very dreadful. It could be said that they could easily paralyze hundreds of battleships and directly intimidate the strange Cat King. The Phoenix Queen's plan is good, but it is not thorough enough. The Crown Prince of Daluo and those Taisher powers must be very familiar with the Phoenix Kingdom's battle power. So they must have considered how to defend against the Phoenix Kingdom's full strength. If the Phoenix Kingdom's army uses my equipment, they will misjudge the Phoenix Kingdom's strength. At that time, they will be caught unprepared," Qin Yun said. The Phoenix Queen said, "Our Phoenix Kingdom's craftsmen will fully cooperate with Your Excellency. My craftsmen are always ready," Luo Shu said. "Apart from your craftsmen, there are also craftsmen from the Nine Dragon Kingdom and the Strange Cat Kingdom. So in a short period of time, they will definitely be able to create a large amount of stronger equipment," Qin Yun said. "As for me, I will make a great formation that can help your warriors evolve their bloodline heavenly runes." Qin Yun already told Chu Limin and Luo Yea about this before. Luo Shu and the Phoenix Queen also know about this. Before attacking the strange cat fleet, Qin Yun already planned how to rob the Crown Prince of Daluo's primordial historical site. Outside, Tang Ba's voice came. "Boss, the Hualing Empire's Crown Prince's clone is outside. He wants to talk to you in secret." "I don't want to see the clone. Brother Ba, tell him to scram," Qin Yun immediately said. Last time, he was blasted by Lu Yi. If a clone came, he must be on guard. "How about I go see him?" the Phoenix Queen said. "I will tell him to scram and at the same time let him know that I have joined forces with you." The Phoenix Queen's reputation is not small. Within the Nine Sun sacred ground, the crown princes of the other three empires all want to subdue this raging flame phoenix. It is better to directly destroy his clone, Luo Shu said. Although he is the crown prince of Hualing Empire, he can't mobilize the empire's army. If he wants to counterattack, he can only send his own trained warriors. We can easily destroy them. Chapter 3187. Qin Yun originally only wanted to send away Crown Prince Hualing's clone, but Luo Shu and Phoenix Queen seemed to want to make things difficult for that clone. These two women might really be sisters. Their thoughts were quite similar. "If I kill Prince Hualing's doppelganger, it will be like insulting Prince Hualing, won't that be bad?" Luo Yaya said. She was a little worried. After all, that was the crown prince of an empire. If the crown prince's clone were to die here, and this matter was spread out, it would be a disgrace to the dignity of an empire. At that time, Crown Prince Hualing might be able to mobilize the army of the empire. After all, this was to maintain the dignity of the empire. Luo Yaya's concern showed that she had thought things through carefully. Now that the crown princes of the four great empires were unable to directly mobilize the empire's armies, they would definitely think of all sorts of ways to obtain as much military power as possible. Even if the Huoling Empire allows them to send their army, they won't send many of them. If we join hands, we can definitely take them down. The Phoenix Queen said, "It's settled then. I'll go out and destroy that guy's clone." A dignified crown prince of the empire, sending a clone over and cowering in fear. He deserves to be destroyed. Luo Shu said, "Sister Phoenix, try your best to understand his purpose of coming here. Not long after your Excellency Divine King defeated the exotic cat fleet, this Prince Huoling jumped out. He must have some purpose." "Got it." The Phoenix Queen nodded. Then, she released a ball of fiery red light from her storage magic treasure. This ball of light enveloped the Phoenix Queen's body and turned into a set of domineering fiery red phoenix armor, covering her entire body and head. She held a beautiful phoenix-shaped sword in her hand and said, "Your Excellency, do you want to go out and take a look?" "Let's go." Qin Yun stood up. Luo Shu and Luo Yaya took out their masks and put them on. Yushang Yun also put on the black armor and went out to take a look. After all, it was rare for Phoenix Queen to kill Crown Prince Huoling's doppelganger. Outside the Golden Claw treasure land, there was a 100-meter-long ship floating in the air. It was the ship of Crown Prince Huoling's clone. An emissary is standing outside the barrier of Golden Claw treasure land's entrance. He is Jiang Ming, whom Qin Yun is familiar with. When Jiang Ming saw Qin Yun appear and bring a group of people with him, he sighed in his heart. Back then, when he bought the easy smoke manufacturing technique from Qin Yun was not that powerful. He didn't expect that not long after, even the crown prince of the Huoling Empire would send a clone to see Qin Yun. As a precaution, Qin Yun brought Su Xiaoba, Monkey King, Ba Taiyin and others. He is worried that Phoenix Queen won't be able to defeat Crown Prince Huoling's avatar. Of course, the Phoenix Queen had brought quite a few people with her. Other than General Chu Limin, there were also more than 10 mysterious people wearing flaming armor. They had been waiting outside the Nine Sun Sky Raising Pagoda the entire time. On Luo Shu's side there were Luo Yea and Ji Yingji and a few middle-aged women. All of them were not weak. Jiang Ming said to Qin Yun, "Boss Qin, my Huoling Empire's crown prince wants to have a private talk with you, and only you. Is your crown prince an idiot? Or does he take my master for a fool?" Su Xiaoba shouted without any trace of politeness. "My master is the divine king of the divine desolate. Your Huoling Empire came from the outerverse. Now that you are in my master's territory, why don't you hurry up and kowtow? Why are you acting so secretive?" Jiang Ming was immediately stunned because he never heard that Qin Yun had a disciple. He looked at the bald youth in front of him and wanted to say something but stopped. His Highness the Crown Prince wants to talk about something very important. It's about the Taisher faction. Jiang Ming said again, "Boss Qin, with your strength, you don't need to be afraid of His Highness the Crown Prince. Stop talking nonsense, tell him to roll over here," Phoenix Queen said. Her voice came from her helmet, it sounded a bit hoarse. Jiang Ming is very surprised. Why is this group of people shouting and killing at the slightest provocation? In fact, in the eyes of Qin Yun and the others, Crown Prince Huoling is an enemy. The Crown Prince had secretly sent powerful imperial soldiers to infiltrate the exotic cat fleet to attack the Golden Claw treasure land, mainly to capture Qin Yun. Therefore, Qin Yun and the others felt that there is no need to be polite to the enemy. Since the other side came with an avatar, they can just kill it. Jiang Ming can only take out the magic mirror and contact Crown Prince Huoling. His Highness the Crown Prince is willing to come in person. Jiang Ming said, "This guy is so arrogant. He actually wants my master to board his broken ship?" Su Xiaoba coldly snorted. He actually didn't know that Phoenix Queen was going to make a move later. He only knew that his master called him over to support the situation. He is complaining in his heart that there are too many people because he feels that as long as he, brother tyrannical heaven, is there, they can support the sky. He alone is enough to support the situation. Not long after, a handsome and strong middle-aged man wearing golden armor flew over from the ship. When he landed on the ground, his posture is very stylish and he flipped his hair in a very coquettish manner. This is Crown Prince Huoling. His face is full of smile. He looks like a harmless and forthright man. Divine King of Divine Desolate, I have long heard of your name. Crown Prince Huoling walked over with a bright smile. Just as he finished speaking, he saw Phoenix Queen wearing phoenix armor. He saw Phoenix Queen before, but he didn't recognize her immediately. Phoenix Queen has many kinds of armors. All of them are carved with phoenix totem or phoenix relief. This kind of armor is not necessarily unique to Phoenix Queen. As long as you like it, you can carve a phoenix totem on your own armor. Thank you very much for the tens of thousands of soldiers sent by Crown Prince Huoling. Their divine universe heavenly bones are of excellent quality. I hope Crown Prince Huoling can continue to work hard. Qin Yun smiled and said, although I am a divine king, as everyone knows, I just started out and am poor, so I won't return the gift. Thank you, Brother Qin, for recognizing those tens of thousands of soldiers. Their divine universe heavenly bones satisfied Brother Qin. That's great. Crown Prince Huoling smiled and said, as for returning the gift, there is no need. Crown Prince Huoling's reaction also made Qin Yun and the others secretly shocked. Brother Qin, do you want to invite me in, or do you want to come out and have a drink with me? Crown Prince Huoling suddenly stopped smiling and said seriously, I really have an important matter. I received news that a Taisher faction wants to attack you. I came to report. I'm sorry, there is a problem with the enchantment. I can't go in or out now, so I might as well say it here. Qin Yun said. No, if the Taisher faction finds out, it will be bad. Crown Prince Huoling shook his head and said. He was so determined to meet Qin Yun, it was obvious that there was a conspiracy. After all, Crown Prince Huoling only came with a doppelganger. It was worth it to use a doppelganger to kill Qin Yun or seriously injure Qin Yun. Let me go out, Phoenix Queen said. Okay. Qin Yun nodded and gave Phoenix Queen a token, so that she could pass through the enchantment with it. Chapter 3188. Although Crown Prince Huoling was only a doppelganger, his doppelganger was not weak at all and its equipment was also very powerful. For a person like Crown Prince Huoling, the strength of his doppelganger could be said to be close to the original body. Because once something happened to the original body, he could rely on the doppelganger to continue to live, so people at this level would use a lot of resources to make their doppelganger stronger. Phoenix Queen took the token given by Qin Yun and went out through the barrier. As soon as she went out, Crown Prince Huoling's face changed. Crown Prince Huoling had seen Phoenix Queen before, so he was very familiar with her aura. He felt that the phoenix armor was somewhat familiar. Phoenix Queen walked out of the barrier and her powerful aura burst out. Crown Prince Huoling immediately recognized her. Phoenix Queen, you actually contacted Qin Yun in person. It seems that I underestimated the degree of cooperation between you two. Crown Prince Huoling, who was shocked, quickly calmed down. What is the purpose of your visit this time? Phoenix Queen said coldly, the Divine King is my ally. You want to murder him, right? No, I came to find him because I really have important information to tell him. Crown Prince Huoling said. Go to hell. Phoenix Queen slashed down with her sword. This sword was very fast. Crown Prince Huoling did not expect it. His shoulder was fiercely slashed by this sword. His armor was smashed and many pieces splashed out. Although he did not dodge, because the divine universe power in his body was not weak, even if he defended, with the armor to offset most of the power, His arm was not cut off. He was very shocked. He did not expect Phoenix Queen to suddenly attack. Jiang Ming, who was beside Crown Prince Hualing, was trembling with fear. They did not expect Phoenix Queen to be in the Golden Claw Treasure Land. She personally attacked at this time, which showed that she attached great importance to the cooperation with Qin Yun. This was to show her attitude. Not only Jiang Ming, even Crown Prince Hualing was very confused. What capital did Qin Yun have to make Phoenix Queen show such attitude? It must be that Phoenix Queen needed Qin Yun's help very much. She even did not hesitate to offend the Crown Prince of an empire. In fact, Phoenix Queen was not afraid of the Crown Prince at all. She had not been afraid of the Crown Prince of Deluo for a long time. Hualing's shoulder was very painful. His bones were completely broken and he was supported by the divine universe power. After he was hit by the sword, he immediately kept a distance from Phoenix Queen. The Phoenix Queen did not immediately chase after him. She seemed to be a little sloppy and not in a hurry. The reason I came to find Qin Yun is indeed to kill him. My avatar is enough to kill him. Crown Prince Hualing sneered. Also, there really is a Taisher force that wants to take action against him. The reason why I came is because I don't want him to fall into the hands of a Taisher force. Previously, he had sent out 50,000 soldiers to attack the Golden Claw Treasured Land, but all of them had been lost, so he felt that it was a great loss. The other 3 crown princes did not do anything, which meant that the Taisher faction was determined to win. At most, I'll just lose a doppelganger. If I succeed, then I'll make a huge profit. If I don't, then the loss isn't that big. Crown Prince Hualing laughed and said, Phoenix Queen, you are indeed very strong, but you can't kill my doppelganger. I didn't lose anything. Is that so? Do you really think that I can't kill your clone? Phoenix Queen said slowly. No matter how strong you are still only at the 9th level of the divine space realm. No matter how strong you are still only the king of a kingdom. I am the crown prince of the empire. Whether it is bloodline or status, I am much higher than you. Crown Prince Hualing laughed and said, the other crown princes all hope to obtain you and make you their concubine. But in my eyes, you are most suitable to be a slave, ha ha ha. Phoenix Queen is very calm. Qin Yun watched from inside the enchantment. With his understanding of violent women, the calmer they were, the more terrifying they were. Sure enough, Crown Prince Hualing, who was laughing, was about to jump and fly away when Phoenix Queen appeared above him. A burst of fiery red light suddenly flashed out. It was a huge phoenix wing that flashed and hit Crown Prince Hualing to the ground. Crown Prince Hualing, who fell to the ground, was covered by many inscriptions that looked like phoenix feathers. His body couldn't move. Crown Prince Hualing was very surprised. His doppelganger was very strong. It was also at the peak of the 9th level of the divine space realm. Even if it couldn't beat Phoenix Queen, it shouldn't have been crushed to this extent. Just as he was struggling, Phoenix Queen threw the broadsword towards the ground and directly penetrated the body of Crown Prince Hualing's doppelganger. Crown Prince Hualing let out a scream. Phoenix Queen fell from the sky. Her feet, which were wearing boots, fiercely stepped on Crown Prince Hualing's legs and directly broke them. Crown Prince Hualing let out another scream. Qin Yun and others were also shocked by Phoenix Queen. There were many people in the 9th level of the divine space realm present. They all had 300,000 to 400,000 divine space power. The divine universe heavenly bones in their bodies had all been cultivated, but they hadn't been strengthened yet. But now it seemed that with their strength, it was still very difficult to defeat Phoenix Queen. Qin Yun also didn't know why Phoenix Queen was so strong. It should not be because of her bloodline heavenly rune. Her bloodline heavenly rune was only the 5th generation. Her divine universe heavenly bone had all been strengthened. Crown Prince Hualing's doppelganger had also been strengthened. But in front of Phoenix Queen, it was still so weak. There was only one reason. Phoenix Queen still had some kind of power in her body, which caused her body and divine universe power to erupt even stronger. Crown Princes of the 4 great empires, you must be the first Crown Prince to die in my hands. Phoenix Queen's voice was cold and indifferent. After she finished speaking, she stepped on Crown Prince Huoling's head. Then, she threw the Phoenix Divine Sword at the ship that Crown Prince Huoling had been on and directly destroyed it. Jiang Ming was killed by a wave of her hand and a ball of flame. Qin Yun suddenly felt that his strength was still far from the top. He had not cultivated to the 9th level of the Divine Space Realm, and the Divine Universe heavenly bone in his body had not been completely cultivated, let alone strengthened. However, he could still get the respect of top powerhouses like Phoenix Queen and Luo Shu. Because in this era, the strength of a single person was very limited. Even Phoenix Queen could not destroy a battleship with her own strength. And if Qin Yun prepared well, he could destroy a battleship with all kinds of equipment. Phoenix Queen returned to the Golden Claw Treasure Land and said, "The Taisher Force will come soon. I don't know which universe's Taisher Force it is. Your Excellency Divine King, the Empire did not attack you because they were afraid of causing a sensation. But the Taisher Force does not have this concern. Are you afraid of the Taisher Force?" "Of course not. It seems that I have to prepare immediately," Qin Yun said. Phoenix Queen was not afraid. She even wanted to immediately fight with the Taisher Force because she had been cheated by a Taisher Force. Qin Yun dared to fight against the Taisher Force, so she recognized Qin Yun as an ally even more. Chapter 3189. Phoenix Queen and Luo Shu originally came here to discuss with Qin Yun about attacking the primordial ancient ruins. However, they never expected that a primordial power would suddenly attack the Golden Claw Treasure Land. Because of the sudden situation, the Phoenix Queen and Luo Shu could only temporarily put aside the matter of the primordial ruins. Next, they had to help Qin Yun fight against the primordial power. They had all been scammed by Grand Prime organizations in the past. Although they had worked with Grand Prime organizations for many years, they did not understand their strength at all. They had no idea just how powerful they were right now. After arriving in the Divine Wilderness, no matter who it was, the highest cultivation they could reach was the 9th layer of the Divine Space Realm. People from Grand Primes were no exception. This time, the Taisher power that was going to attack the Golden Claw territory was from the Outerverse, and it was not one of the 3 Taisher powers that the Phoenix Queen and Luo Shu were familiar with. However, it was still possible to get a rough idea of the Taisher power's strength. This was because the difference in strength between Grand Prime organizations would not be too great. Qin Yun really needs Phoenix Queen and Luo Shu's help. He doesn't want them to send more warriors, but he wants their craftsmen to help forge divine arrows and dragon head cannons. He did not understand the Grand Prime organizations, nor did he know how they would attack the Golden Claw treasure zone. However, he needed to prepare his strongest weapon. No matter how powerful they were, they would not be able to stop them. Qin Yun's Super 10,000 God Devouring Arrow is a very terrifying weapon in the Divine Desolate. No one dares to block it directly. He needed to prepare a few more of these Super Devouring God Arrows so that he could use them against powerful enemies that he didn't understand. Phoenix Queen and Luo Shu immediately returned to arrange craftsmen to help Qin Yun forge the Super 10,000 God Devouring Arrow. Qin Yun originally wanted to find some time to properly cultivate and raise the upper limit of his divine cosmos force. But now, time doesn't allow it. He let Xian Rujing and Luo Yaofeng return to 4 divine sons first. Yushang Yun followed Qin Yun to the lake side of Golden Claw Treasure Land. Bai Suxin, Shao Xian Qin and the Star God were all undergoing a transformation at the bottom of the lake. Right now, the commotion in the lake was not small, which meant that they would be able to come up very soon. Sister Shang Yun, after they come up, bring them back to 4 divine sons. Qin Yun said. Yun, is this battle very difficult? Yu Shangyun knows Qin Yun very well. Previously, when the exotic cat fleet attacked, he didn't let Bai Suxin and the others leave. However, he was very worried about Xiao Xianqin and the others. I don't understand the enemy this time, they are very powerful and mysterious. Qin Yun said, just in case. After they become stronger, they will be of great help to you. Why can't you let them stay? Yu Shangyun asked. She also wanted to stay. Qin Yun shook his head and said, in this new era, combat methods are already very different. Sister Shangyun, did you notice anything different when Phoenix Queen killed Prince Huoling's clone? Yes, the Phoenix Queen's power is very fierce, but the earth is not torn apart by her power. The earth can absorb and endure even stronger power. Yu Shangyun said, this world is getting stronger and stronger. Yes. This means that even stronger materials will be born in the divine wilderness. They might even be better and stronger than the divine universe heavenly bone. If there is such a material, it will definitely be obtained by a powerful faction first, and it will also appear in the 9 Sun sacred ground first, said Qin Yun. Grasp the best resources and forge the latest and strongest equipment, and you will have a greater advantage on the battlefield. Yu Shangyun nodded. Divine Moon Clan is currently in charge of growing medicinal herbs among the 4 divine sons. But during this period of time, she also discovered the importance of equipment. She began to develop smelting and forging techniques and nurture related talent. As they spoke, many bubbles suddenly appeared on the lake. Bai Suxin, Xiao Xianqin, and Star God all floated up from the lake. They have become very strong, just like Xian Rujing, Yao Feng, and the others. Yu Shangyun walked over and shook their hands one by one, sensing their formidable divine universe power. This kind of lake is really good. Star God smiled charmingly and said, Little brother Yun, during this period of time, Big Sister has heard a lot of tremors. Is the battle outside over? It's over. This kind of lake is good, but there won't be many opportunities to use it later. Qin Yun said with smile. Big Sister Star God, you all go back with Sister Shangyun first. Don't come to the Golden Claw Treasure Land if there's nothing. Star God and the others immediately realized that Qin Yun is facing a great crisis. Xiao Xianqin and the others didn't ask anything, they only said a few encouraging words to Qin Yun, then kissed his face and followed Yu Shangyun back. After they returned to the Guanghan Palace, Bai Suxin bit her lips and said, Sister Shangyun, could it be that we can't help at all? Didn't we become stronger? We indeed can't help now, but we will definitely be able to help in the future. From now on, you must properly learn how to smelt materials and how to forge weapons. This will be very important in this era. Yu Shangyun said. Among the 4 divine sons, they can draw in very strong flames to smelt. Other than runes being very difficult, smelting and forging are not too difficult for them. They are only lacking materials now. In a very elegant room in the Guanghan Palace, this is not Yu Shangyun's room, but she has quietly arrived here. On the bed in the room, a quiet and gentle, absolutely beautiful woman is sitting cross-legged. It is Xieqiru. Ro, when are you going to the core of the 7 divine sun? Yu Shangyun asked. Xieqiru opened her eyes, her expression is as gentle as water, her face revealed a gentle and sweet smile. Sister Shangyun, how is Xiao Yun now? The Taisher powers want to attack his Golden Claw Treasure Land, and this time it will be rather difficult. Aren't you going to see him? Yu Shangyun asked. I don't plan to go to the core of the 7 divine sun, nor do I plan to see Xiao Yun. I just want to quietly chat with you here. Xieqiru said with smile. Yu Shangyun walked over and sat on the side of the bed. She gently held Xieqiru's hand and said, Ro, I can't see through you more and more. We were once the goddesses of the 9 heavens. You were Tianshi Ro and I was Tianshi Xiang. Later on, we each had our own fates. You and I did not change, but your realm is higher than mine. Sister Shang-yun, I am waiting for the birth of the ninth divine son. Siekiru said. After the birth of the ninth divine son, I will immediately teleport to the ninth divine son through the core of the four divine Sunday. This is extremely important. The ninth divine son should have been entered by Yu Shi, right? Yu Shang-yun said with a frown. No, Yu Shi and Yu Tian went to the ancestral divine son and second divine son, respectively. They are with Yu Mei and Yu Lan. After the birth of the ninth divine son, all of us 9 sun goddesses will go to the core of the ninth divine son. Siekiru said, Don't tell Xiao Yun that I'm back. I'm afraid that he will affect our plans. I won't tell him. Yu Shang-yun nodded. Thank you, as expected of my most beautiful and fragrant sister Shang-yun. Siekiru smiled lightly and then caressed Yu Shang-yun's face. Chapter 3190. Qin Yun had learned from the 9 Yang Law Spirit that Siekiru, Yu Shi, and Yu Tian would soon return from the Outerverse. Recently, he had been bitterly waiting for news from Siekiru and the others. He had never asked Yu Shang-yun before because he felt that once Yu Shang-yun had any news, she would definitely tell him immediately. Qin Yun missed Siekiru very much. After so many years, he had often been separated from Siekiru. He was already used to it. Now that he was facing the attack of a Grand Prime organization, he needed to be completely prepared. Inside the 9 Sun Sky Raising Pagoda, Qin Yun held the divine mirror of absolute beginning. Brother Taisher, the Taisher organizations are finally moving against me. It's a pity that you know nothing about the Taisher organizations, or I would be able to make even more ample preparations. Qin Yun sighed. Know yourself and know your enemy, and you will never be defeated. Qin Yun knew nothing about powerful enemies, so he felt helpless. Back when he was fighting the Scorpio Kingdom and the Exotic Cat Kingdom, he had very reliable information in his hand. In particular, when he was fighting the Exotic Cat Kingdom, he even had the bloodline poisonous insects that could restrain the cat-eared people, which was why he was able to remain calm. I'm about to master the heavenly talisman of you. I'll be able to create the strongest heavenly talisman of you very soon. Old Brother Taisher said. However, this is of no help in the war. Qin Yun stood at the top of the 9 Sun Heaven-Raising Pagoda and looked at the starry night sky. He said, With my current strength, I am unable to establish a foothold in the divine desolate. It is already not easy for me to last until now. Many powerful races have already sent people to express their goodwill towards me. They're still on their way. The Grand Prime organizations will deal a heavy blow to my prestige before the envoys arrive, making the various races of the divine wilderness lose confidence in me. The upper echelons of the Taisher factions and the empires could see the entire situation very clearly. The 4 empires could not openly take action, but the mysterious Taisher organizations could. Brother Taisher said, Qin Yun, you just need to lose beautifully. Compared to the 4 empires and the Taisher factions, you're just too weak. As long as you lose beautifully, you'll win. A loss was a loss. How could it be as beautiful as losing? And Qin Yun quickly understood old Brother Taisher's intentions. The main goal of the 4 empires and the Grand Prime factions was to strike at Qin Yun's prestige and reduce his living space. It was very difficult for them to completely kill or capture Qin Yun. All they could do was restrict Qin Yun's development to prevent him from leading the various races of the Divine Wilderness to pose a great threat to the empires and Grand Prime factions. Now that a Grand Prime organization wanted to move against Qin Yun, it meant that Qin Yun's recent performance had indeed made the upper echelon of the 4 empires and Grand Prime organizations feel threatened. Then what they can do is to eradicate Qin Yun's Golden Claw treasure lands and seize all of Qin Yun's treasure lands. This can restrict Qin Yun's development and at the same time suppress Qin Yun's newly established prestige. The so-called beautiful defeat was to let the enemy achieve their goal, but they would also suffer heavy losses. Not letting the enemy be happy could guarantee a certain degree of prestige, and at the same time make the enemy feel uncomfortable. On the surface, it looked like they had lost, but to the various races of the divine wilderness, it was not considered a loss. Qin Yun immediately summoned the Heaven Secrets chapter's core figures, Xian Sha, Chu Wuxing, Yu Yan, Tian Rui and Tianyu. He also summoned Ing Ji and Enji. He needed crucial information. The scale of the Grand Prime Organization's attack on the Golden Claw Treasure Zone this time will definitely be quite large. Use the fastest time possible to gather the relevant information. As Qin Yun spoke, he took out a few small boat-sized flying shuttles. This is something he asked An Wukong to create. It can shuttle through space, but it consumes a lot of energy. It requires a large amount of Divine Universe Goldstone to maintain its energy consumption. After Qin Yun seized the Strange Cat Kingdom's battleship, he obtained many small Divine Sun cores. After transferring the small Divine Sun cores to the spatial flying shuttles, there is no need for Divine Universe Goldstone. Qin Yun simply taught them how to use the spatial flying shuttles, so that they can quickly gather information. Once they have any news, they can immediately return. This is the fastest method. Xian Sha and the others immediately took action. Qin Yun brought along Monkey King and Su Xiaoba. He placed 50,000 Divine King warriors and 50,000 Phoenix warriors into a Pearl of the Nine Sun Divine Soul and headed towards other treasure lands. He had to speed up and dig out as many Divine Universe medals as he could from beneath the treasure land as possible. There are many other treasure lands that are digging out Divine Universe Goldstones, such as the group of Tyrant Dragon Warriors, Illusory Pupil Race and Dual Heart Race people, as well as a portion of Scorpio people. Their minds were controlled and used to dig out Divine Universe Goldstones, so their speed was originally very fast. But now, Qin Yun wants them to be even faster. Moreover, he also brought 100,000 powerful warriors. If it was before, Qin Yun could easily use Nether Sun's supergravity to do it. But now that this land has evolved, it is very difficult to do so. Therefore, he needs the power of many people to blast open the treasure lands and dig deep into the ground. Boss, there are too many Divine Universe Goldstones under these treasure lands. With this speed, we can still finish them in a short period of time. Ba said. He knows that Qin Yun wants to transfer the Divine Universe Goldstones from these treasure lands. Qin Yun sighed. The treasure lands are becoming more and more solid. He can no longer mine them quickly. Even if he uses all his strength, he can only find another treasure land in a short period of time. Although the Golden Claw treasure land's energy has been greatly consumed, there are still a lot of Divine Universe Goldstones below. This is also the reason why the Taisher powers took action. As long as they can beat Qin Yun away, they can obtain the resources of these treasure lands. It will be a great harvest. If Qin Yun is beaten away, he will lose a few treasure lands and at the same time, his prestige will be greatly damaged. He will lose very unsightly. Even the Taisher powers and the four great empires are unable to take away all the Divine Universe Goldstones in a short period of time. Facing the formidable attack, Qin Yun cannot resist and can only give up on the Golden Claw treasure land. Many scouts are staring at Qin Yun's treasure lands. When they saw many powerful warriors suddenly appear in one of the treasure lands, they immediately sent the news back. This time, Qin Yun really wants to run. He wants to dig as much as he can. Ba and the others also realized how formidable the Taisher powers are. However, their morale has not been affected. Qin Yun being able to hold on for so long is already a miracle in their eyes. This treasure land originally belonged to the Twin Heart race. Now nearly 200,000 people are digging. Qin Yun is not in this treasure land. He brought Monkey King and Su Xiaoba to the illusory pupil race's treasure land and used mysterious penetration divine ability to enter deep underground. After entering deep underground, he let Miluer out. Zi Qingqing and Shui Tianzi also came out. They have entered the Golden Claw treasure land before, now they have become very strong, enough to protect Miluer. After this adorable and pure girl came out, Qin Yun can't help but pinch her little face. Miluer, your face has become a lot rounder, Qin Yun said with smile. Ah, am I getting fat? Miluer suddenly became very anxious. Inside the 9 Sun Divine Soul, she followed Yang Yang and the other foodies to eat and eat all day. It would be strange if she didn't get fat. Qin Yun let Miluer come out to ask her to help transfer the Divine Universe Goldstones. Miluer has a very special and formidable ability towards golden brittle. Chapter 3191. Miluer covered her somewhat round face with her hands, looking a little shy because she just realized that she is fat. At this time, she also made up her mind to start losing weight. Big Brother Yun, there are a lot of golden crisps here. Miluer quickly discovered. There are a lot, but I can't take them away quickly. Do you have any way? Qin Yun said, I obtained this territory with great difficulty. Now there are powerful enemies who want to rob my territory. I may not be able to defeat them, so I can only transfer the golden crisps here. Qin Yun heard from Ling Yuner and Shui Tianzi that Miluer grew very fast in the 9 Sun Divine Spirit. Although she always looked like a young girl, her strength advanced by leaps and bounds. As for how much she has grown, Zi Qingqing and the others are not clear. Miluer's combat power may not be strong, but her special ability is very terrifying. For example, the way she perceives the Divine Universe Golden Stone is very amazing. Furthermore, she can travel through space and even use her mental power to sweep through the Earth in the form of spatial wave. Her ability to travel through space is very powerful, probably even more powerful than in Wukong and other alien space race people. Qin Yun still can't figure out why her spatial power is so powerful. Furthermore, her mental power can erupt so many times. Of course, this little cutie doesn't know that she has mastered a very enviable super ability. Inside the 9 Sun Divine Spirit, she just eats and eats all day long or helps with some chores. With Yang Yang and her group of friends to play with, she can live a very happy life every day. It can be said that she is carefree. Occasionally, she would think of the destroyer that made her afraid. Miluer closed her eyes. After a while, she said, Big Brother Yun, I can try to transfer a relatively large piece of golden crisps to the 9 Sun Divine Spirit. Transfer most of them, Qin Yun said in surprise. What do you need? Will it affect you? I may be very tired. After I finish, I will rest for a period of time. There won't be any problems, just treat it as losing weight. Miluer smiled sweetly and said, Big Brother Yun, I will start now. And let's begin. Qin Yun nodded and said. Then he let Ling Yuner inside the 9 Sun Divine Spirit look after the transferred Divine Universe Golden Stone. Miluer just stood there, then closed her eyes. Her body released a faint golden glow, accompanied by waves of spatial fluctuations. Zi Qingqing and Shui Tianzi were by her side in case anything happened to her. As she continued to release spatial fluctuations, Qin Yun could gradually sense the aura of the nearby Divine Universe Goldstones grow stronger and stronger. Soon, Qin Yun found out how Miluer was transferred. She released a very strong mental force wind, first locking onto the larger Divine Universe Golden Stones, then releasing the special spatial energy she grasped, moving a small portion of the larger Divine Universe Golden Stones to carry out spatial teleportation. Those Divine Universe Goldstones didn't teleport over immediately. Instead, they moved in segments. After teleporting several hundred meters, they would stop for a period of time before continuing to teleport. It could be seen that this consumed a lot of Maruru's energy. It didn't take long for her little face to be covered in sweat, and her white cat ears were constantly trembling, releasing a very strong spirit Yuli Feng. Her white tail wagged very quickly, and every time it wagged, it would create a spatial wave. Not long after, Qin Yun sensed a relatively large Divine Universe Goldstone approaching. He immediately locked onto the nearby Divine Universe Goldstone and moved it into the Nine Sun Divine Spirit. It was not easy to move a large amount of Divine Universe Goldstone deep underground. After all, they were too far apart and some were even deeper underground. Miller persisted for several hours before she moved most of the Divine Universe Goldstone ores over and let Qin Yun store them into the Nine Sun Divine Spirit. After finishing, Miller took a light breath. Zi Qingqing and Shui Tianzi quickly helped her wipe her sweat. Big brother Yun, I want to rest, I can still continue. Miller faintly smiled, her eyes are somewhat tired. Miller, it's been hard on you. If the situation wasn't urgent, I wouldn't have let you be so tired. Qin Yun touched her face with some heartache. Miller can't just eat and drink for free. When you need help, I will definitely do my best. Miller's lovely face is very serious, her voice is very powerful. Thank you, Miller. Qin Yun smiled in relief. He is not afraid of the destroyer coming because in the Divine Desolate, even if the destroyer comes, their cultivation is only at the 9th level of the Divine Space Realm. A large number of Phoenix Warriors and Divine King Warriors can definitely resist the destroyer. In the next few days, Qin Yun brought Miller to the depths of several treasure lands and transferred a portion of the Divine Universe Goldstone from each treasure land to the Nine Sun Divine Spirit. In total, there are more than 10 trillion Divine Universe Goldstone. In addition to the Divine Universe Goldstone that Qin Yun already has, he now has 17 trillion. Although it is a lot, he can't use it all at once. Moreover, these Divine Universe Goldstones still need to nurture the Divine King army and so on. His expenses in the future will still not be small. There are still Divine Universe Goldstone under several treasure lands, but they are too scattered and small. It would be too troublesome to get them all out and it would take a lot of time, so he can only give up. Moreover, the core lake of the treasure land has been destroyed by Qin Yun, so it will be impossible to produce more Divine Universe Goldstone in the future. Even if other forces occupy these treasure lands, it will not be easy for them to dig out the remaining Divine Universe Goldstone. Taisher factions have not arrived, but Heavenly Secret Sect and Dark Shadow Pavilion have already obtained some important information. Inside Golden Claw Treasure Land, Qin Yun is looking at all kinds of information and his heart is filled with shock. Taisher factions can be said to be very powerful, they control the barbarian race universes humans and beasts. They all came from the Nine Sun Holy Land, they are incomparably powerful, and they don't care about their lives. Taisher faction has 10,000-meter-long giant battleships, it can be said to be very large. 3 of them are currently flying very high in the sky, they are heading towards Golden Claw Treasure Land. These giant battleships will be used to break the barrier of the treasure land, they will not land on the ground to fight. The main reason is that Taisher faction is afraid of being shot down by Qin Yun. Boss, Strange Cat King is here. Tainba said in low voice outside the Nine Sun Heaven-raising pagoda. Strange Cat King. Qin Yun frowned. Strange Cat King coming at this time is very surprising. Qin Yun immediately went out and stored the Nine Sun Heaven-raising pagoda. Then he called Monkey King and Su Xiaoba and left with Tain. At this moment, all the other treasure lands have been evacuated. All the warriors and other people are gathered at Golden Claw Treasure Land's Heavenly Law altar. Qin Yun can leave at any time. Extremely urgent matter. Strange Cat King directly said after seeing Qin Yun. Qin Yun took out the Nine Sun Heaven-raising pagoda and brought Strange Cat King inside. Is the little girl following you? Strange Cat King asked after entering the nine-sun heaven-raising pagoda. The little girl he is talking about is precisely Maluru. Qin Yun is very surprised. He asked Maluru to come out and help him for the past few days, but she did not attract any destroyer. Yet Strange Cat King sensed it. Chapter 3192. Qin Yun is very puzzled why the destroyer did not come. Instead, Strange Cat King came so quickly. How did he know that Malur is here? Yes, what's wrong? Qin Yun asked. Is the destroyer coming? Strange Cat King took out a few heads and said, all the destroyers are here. You have to be careful next time. Let the little girl come out and let her use her ability, but be sure to pay attention to the destroyer. Qin Yun looked at the heads and was somewhat surprised. Strange Cat King actually killed the destroyer, a powerful warrior personally led by the Luo Heavenly Emperor. I couldn't beat these destroyers before, but now that we have the same cultivation level, they are no longer my opponents? Strange Cat King said lightly. Strange Cat King, what is the origin of this little girl? Qin Yun has always been very curious. The last time he met Luo Shu, they mainly discussed other important things, so he did not have time to ask about Malur's origin. On the surface, she is a child born from the union of the Luo royal family and my Strange Cat King family, but it is not only that. I don't know the specific situation, I only know that once she uses that special ability, the destroyer will sense it. Strange Cat King said, and I also have an instrument in my hand that can sense her. Qin Yun asked, can you let me see that instrument? Strange Cat King took out a square compass. Qin Yun took it and carefully looked at it. He used his heavenly eye and took out the divine mirror of Taisher to illuminate it. This square compass is golden and there are many strange runes on its surface. Qin Yun is not even sure whether they are runes or not, but they look very similar. Qin Yun did not ask his brother Taisher. He just illuminated and recorded those strange runes first. Where did this thing come from? Qin Yun asked. It looks very old, it must be very strong, and there is a very strange energy inside, it is really strange. Your Majesty, this thing was not refined for the little girl, it was mainly created to find a special kind of people with powerful energy inside their body. Strange Cat King said with a mysterious face. I also obtained this thing by chance. I only found out later that I can use this thing to sense the little girl. Qin Yun was even more surprised. When he first saw Myra, he knew that she was not simple. Later, when he learned about her background, he really thought that the Daluo royal family did not allow their royal bloodline to be combined with other bloodlines, and that was why they captured Malur to purify her bloodline. But now, Exotic Cat said that Malur was a special human. Doesn't Maluru have the blood of the Exotic Cat royal family and the Daluo royal family? How can it be a special race? Qin Yun is very puzzled, then he looked at Ba Taiying. Blue-skinned people like Ba Taiying were a very special race. I don't know the details, but my guess is that the little girl has the blood of the Daluo royal family in her body. Due to the combination of various coincidental factors, she mutated, Cat King said. People like her should be very powerful. Malur's father is a member of the Daluo royal family, so it's highly possible that her father's mother is of that special race. If that's the case, then there might be some powerful warriors like Malur in the Luo Empire. The power of the Empire and the Taisher factions is really unfathomable. Your Excellency Divine King, I really can't help you with the attack of the Taisher factions, please forgive me. Cat King sighed. It's okay, I have already prepared to retreat. Strange Cat King, you should properly develop in Nine Sun Holy Ground, maybe I will need your help in the future. Qin Yun said. Yes. Then I will take my leave, goodbye. Cat King nodded and said. Cat King was completely convinced by Qin Yun, so he also recognized Qin Yun as the Divine King and was willing to accept his leadership. After he walked out of the nine-sun sky raising pagoda, he seemed to have flown very far away, but in fact, he was still nearby. He wanted to see if Qin Yun would really retreat in the end. He also wanted to see how the Taisher factions would attack the Golden Claw treasure land, and how they would crush Qin Yun's undefeatable legend. Cat King gave the compass to Qin Yun. He killed those destroyers and obtained one. Although it was useless for the time being, he wanted to keep one in his hand. The true power of the Empire is something even Luo Shu, the former princess of Great Luo, doesn't know. Maybe even the Crown Prince of Great Luo doesn't know how much power the Great Luo Heavenly Emperor is hiding. Qin Yun has already returned to the Golden Claw treasure land. Beneath the Golden Claw treasure land, there were many scattered pieces of divine universe metal stones. This treasure land was extremely large, and if the scattered pieces of divine universe metal stones were gathered together, it would still be an enormous amount. The Taisher factions are about to attack. They will surely attack the Golden Claw treasure land. Qin Yun is not willing to retreat just like this. Qin Yun, the rune on the square compass, should be an ancient character. Old Brother Taisher said, maybe there was a civilization that combined words and bloodline heavenly runes to form characters. The advantage of this is that it's easy to learn and memorize. It can be said that it's a simplified heavenly rune that's perfect. Qin Yun immediately thought of the primordial ancient ruins and the ancient primordial humans. The Taisher factions were created by the descendants of the ancient primordial humans. They have always been searching for the primordial ancient ruins. The relationship between the Empire and the Taisher factions is very close. Rumor has it that the Heavenly Emperor of the Empire even controls the Taisher factions. Could it be that these things were created by the Taisher factions? Qin Yun looked at the square compass with frown. These Bloodline Heavenly Rune characters are mainly derived from the Bloodline Heavenly Rune box. Maybe I can use the box to create a large number of Bloodline Heavenly Rune characters and increase the power of the Bloodline Heavenly Rune. Although these Bloodline Heavenly Rune characters are more concise, their power is not weaker. Especially when they are combined together, their power is even stronger. Taisher said. Qin Yun has the Divine King Heavenly Seal. He used to transform runes into characters and the effect was very good. But later on, the runes he mastered became more and more complicated. Divine Rune, Totem Rune, Heavenly Rune, Bloodline Heavenly Rune, and so on. If he could truly transform Bloodline Heavenly Rune into characters, it would be very convenient. For example, those powerful Yu-Clan Heavenly Talisman require incomparably complicated Bloodline Heavenly Rune. If he could make Yu-Clan Heavenly Talisman's runes even more concise, he would be able to let the inscription masters of the Inscription Gate mass-produce them. Heaven's Secret Sect and Dark Shadow Pavilion sent the latest information. It is estimated that the Taisher faction's giant battleships will arrive in the sky above the Golden Claw treasure land in 3 days. 3 more days, it should be enough. Qin Yun is not willing to hand over these treasure lands to the Taisher factions. Even if he moved a large amount of Divine Universe Goldstones and destroyed the core, there are still a lot of Divine Universe Goldstones left in the treasure lands. In the next 3 days and 3 nights, he will do his best to transform the barrier of those treasure lands and also set up trap formations. You're tuning in to the Phoenix Knights YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.